perfect. Just the person I need to see. Firstly, loving the outfit, by the way. Really suits your hair. Secondly, the universe is falling apart. I don't have much time to yet. I need to shoot off. I need to do something. But by all means, this is imperative. Watch Type 40. Type 40 podcast is where you need to be. Seguida!
Hello, time for Type 40 Live, materialising here again with the live stream Doctor Who magazine show across your view screen in real time on YouTube, Rumble and on Facebook, always in front of a live chat full of friends, fans and companions just like you. What have we got for you this time? We're pulling it all in from across the Whoniverse as always and all over the known and the unknown world. My word, where on earth can we start? Any farmyard animals this time? Who knows? Who knows? Yes, who am I? Well, yes, I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. This is all about Doctor Who. This is where we track the whole Whoniverse, past, present, and future, poking our noses in and speaking out on Type 40 Live. And yes, you all join in too. That's the way it goes, isn't it? Over there in the comments section. And as ever, I've got to remind you, if you're in the Type 40 Facebook group, hello everybody there. Don't forget to hit the little blue link. Then Facebook tells StreamYard who you are. StreamYard tells us. We all get on first name terms here to cozy down in the TARDIS this time. So yeah, the weather's taken a turn for the worst yet again here in the home of Doctor Who in Great Britain. We've got a bit parky. What I really needed was a deep armchair, an open fireplace, something kind of warming like this. Yeah, like you'd find in a country pub. I think this TARDIS will more than do. The only problem is it's so big, isn't it? Not quite as big as the one we got now, but it's pretty big. So we need some extra bodies to fill it all up and warm it up even quicker, don't we? So we'll get to your comments in a few minutes. But first of all, let's bring Charlotte Shields. Hello. What are you drinking?
Hello, everybody. Hot Vimto tonight. I have got my mug. Hot Vimto.
I thought it could be a hot one. Hot Vimto. Actually, that is really nice. Vimto's quite thick, isn't it? So it just, ooh.
Yeah, and for me, it's a proper northern drink. Like
Northern drink.
Well, no, when I was at uni, like there was some people in my house who weren't from up north, as we would say, and they saw me drink it once, and they were utterly confused. Like, have you got a tea? I said, no, it's hot Vimto, and they just looked at me. So it is a proper northern drink, I think.
Yes, let us know in the live chat, of course. Is hot Vimto just a northern thing or not? Like the fun of, I only had it a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, I'm a fan. I've come to it quite late as well. Who else? Yes, talk about coming late. In fact, I don't know why he's so late, because you would think he'd be on time. He's the only real life time traveller among us. It's Friday for him. It's Thursday for us. So how is it looking so far, Matt? Give us a glimpse of the future. Matt Pott.
It's a bit hot. That's all I can say. More hot than me, but yeah, it's
impossible.
Oh gosh,
Matt Pott, hot stuff.
When you live near Antarctica and then you get a hot day, it's you realise how.
Do you know what hot Vimto is, Matt?
Is it something you put on your shoe?
Not quite.
It's something you drink, my friend. It's something you drink. I have to say, is that a new cap you're sporting there as well? And if so, I believe it's off-brand, mate. It's off-brand. Is this Star Wars?
Yeah, sorry, they don't. Well,
very sweet.
Can't really get much Doctor Who merchandise nowadays, can you?
It's funny though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got Japanese.
Push.
Is it Japanese Star Wars?
Japanese version, yes, of Star Wars, yes.
Very, very nice. That's going to tie into an item we've got coming a little bit later on, everybody, which I can't quite believe it. But yeah, got to bring you the news, haven't we? Next, we have, he's here too. Happy to say, welcome back, Mr. Simon Horton.
When he's not muted.
You know why I'm unmuted? I'm unmuted because there's a little furry friend here who was barking. He was barking like mad just before I came on air, so I had to mute myself because naughty little Lenny.
He knew, Simon. He knew you were coming on, so he
knew he was ready for his close-up, Mr. DeMille, weren't you? Yeah, he's ready. Look at that little face. Look at that face. Say hello to the people. Hello, everybody. Hello.
He's all shy.
He's gone all shy now. Sorry. It's lovely to be back with you. Yeah, I missed you last week, everybody. It's good to be back. And Lenny's delighted to be back as well. So, yeah, hello, everybody.
We missed you too. We missed both of you. We're going to try and catch up on what you may have missed, though I understand that word of some of it has made its way to you. You have actually gone and caught up on last week's stream.
Oh yeah. Of course, I watched last week's stream. Of course I did. It was fantastic. So yeah, I've seen some of it. I've seen some of the crazy rumours that you were talking about. Yeah, exactly. The space cow. There we go. Let's talk about the cow in the room.
So many comments about that in the comments section and through direct messages and things on social media. So thank you, everybody. Sorry to traumatize you all there for a little
and
while.
Also, it's nice that people enjoyed me absolutely losing it. Apparently,
yeah, you were fantastic, Charlotte.
There's a few comments just saying.
As Matt and I said, said in one of our discussions, you spoke for us, basically.
Yes, I think it was very much that. And how about you? So yes, Sarah wasn't there last week either. So I wonder if word of this made its way to Sheffield. Hi, Sarah.
Hello, everybody. Oh, of course it did.
I think it might be you and I, Sarah, actually communicated and said Charlotte said everything we would have said. Was it you and I?
I think it was, yes. Yeah, I mean, before I even had a chance to catch up on the stream, I had messages saying, Sarah, have you heard about this? You need to watch Thursday's show. And I was just dumbstruck. Yeah. Between Jack stunned silence, and Charlotte just losing it.
Yeah.
I still want to know what the truth is behind this one. It just can't be. It can't have been real, surely.
I let's hope it passes into the annals of history with all the
annals
that it deserves. Yeah, actually, I think you're probably right. Actually, come to think of it, and yes, from no, well, I won't. I won't do the link.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
Ever speak to me again. I'm happy to say though that he is here. He was here last week for all the gory details for every last chunk of those various cowpats that we debated on the last show. But he is back for more. I'm happy to say it's because he's a mega friend of ours and he's a big old mega geek. Ian David Diaz, welcome back.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Those horrible cow pats you put up, put me right off my biscuits they did last week.
You always have food delivered during the middle of the show as well.
Yeah, I know. It's good, isn't it?
But things are a lot cozier this time, mate. So I'd like to think that there's a roaring fire just out of shot here in the 8th Doctor's TARDIS. We know there's a few candles dotted around. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's nice.
Why do you always spoil us with these pictures of the McGann TARDIS? I just love that TARDIS so much. And I look at what we've got now, and I know everybody knows that I hate it, but look at the difference between the two. That's just, you just want to step into that one.
Yeah, this is just so full of character and it's warm and
wonderful. Yeah. And I look at the sort of clinicalness of what we've got now, and anyway, there we go. Another story for another time. We've been there.
I do know what you mean, even though I appreciate some of the design touches of the current model, and I'm all for seeing where it will go. I think if I want to get cozy, I'm going back here. I'm going back here.
Well, the stairs don't help for wheelchair access, do they?
You know, one of the things I just love about this is it just tells me so many stories without doing anything at all. Whereas I look at the current console room and it's just so, to me, it's bland and uninteresting. Whereas this just looks as though it's just got so much character, so much to say, so much to tell you. You just want to go in and explore every little corner of that. Whereas there's nothing to explore in the new one. There's just nothing.
You wonder.
You worry that if you went and entered it, you know, you'd get have an operation or something. You'd be like, I'm not going in there. No way.
Well, you do wonder in those storage boxes that he's got. Like he's got the gold dust that the master gives to Chang Li, hasn't he? What else is in the filing system there, and which books are piled up on his little table there for when he's got time in between adventures. I love this. But right at the moment, of course, now, since the TV movie was on, I am now a father. I'm much more responsible. And this is the 21st century. So I'm thinking, have they got any pads underneath those mats, those rugs?
Show your age, man. Show your age.
Overhead. Yeah, I think we'll gloss over that one.
They've got the table over it, so the table's over the
that would weigh
be
down.
all right.
Yeah, it should be okay.
Exactly.
Shouldn't ride up. Yeah, and definitely no farmyard animals waiting to jump out from anywhere that we knew of back in the day. At any rate, let's go and see if there's anybody turned up in the live chat on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook this time who maybe they've been down on the farm, maybe they were moved to go back to nature, to go to ground, more likely by all our commentary last week, because they've come back again this time, everybody. So I think it's time that we check in with everybody over there in the live chat.
That cursed doctor is interfering with my plans, but I will destroy the universe. He won't be able to stop me, but you might if you watch Type 40.
Yeah, like the man in black says.
I've heard he's a wrong un, Simon, but
he's a bad boy. He's a bad on that one.
Now and again. I tell you what, Lord Thoth is also a bad un, but he's very good at keeping time. He's always here, right on time for the start of Type 40 Live. In fact, sometimes way before we are. Good to see you here, Lord Thoth. Good to have you back, as is Garbage. Good evening, one and all from Garbage.
Hello.
Fabulous stuff. Rob Alexander's in too with an evening all.
Evening.
Good evening.
And Peter Harrington, I think we better get somebody getting an ambulance round to Peter's house. Is buenas noches. Oh, buenas noches a todos, Doctor Who aficionados. I've probably mispronounced that, but I think I know what you're doing, Peter. Where are you? Are you abroad, mate? Let us know exactly where you are. Well, within reason. If you're in a massage parlour or something, maybe keep it to yourself. Doug Sims is here. He's from a land down under and buzzing us again with more greetings from the live chat. Happy to have you here too, as is Rose, Kirby, Ian. Hey, hello, good morning, afternoon. I like how Rose just covers it all there, Ian.
Hello, Rose.
Nothing to chance, does she?
Yep. Yeah, it looks. Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry, I'm looking over here because I can see all the remarks on my left. It's a bit weird. I really need to move it over there, but hey, such is life. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, I can see you.
You're a perfectionist, aren't you? You're a perfectionist. Crimpling doubloons into, sorry, I'm late. There's been dirty work on the high seas. Both Captain Birdseye and Captain Pugwash wanted to identify themselves as Saucy Nancy. Oh, identify themselves as Saucy Nancy. And a fracas ensued. I don't mention the fracas. But yes, good to have you back.
Clever, Crimpling.
Richard Brooks asks, are we going to discuss Gallifrey, not one Doctor? Yes, we are, Richard. As much as we can, at any rate. It's we'll do all we can together. Daryl Joyce is here too, the fantastic artist Daryl Joyce. Always happy to have you back.
Hello, Daryl. Well, hey, fantastic art. We love your art, mate.
This one from you.
Me.
Sarah, yeah. And so
From
is
you.
T Productions, otherwise known as Tom Martin. He says, "Hi everyone, I've just finished the L1 robot, and now I'm making an Imperial Dalek next." This man never stops creating these marvels, does he, Sarah?
That's incredible. Yeah, we need more pictures, Tom. Please.
Yeah, we do. I've got yours up here, Tom. Today we're going to have a podcast with Tom at some point in the not too distant future.
Yeah, we're gonna drag him in. We're gonna drag him away from his workbench and his assortment of creepy crawlies and see if we can get some sense out of him. How about that? Woodhouse 122's in with a evening all. That makes sort of sense. Yeah, I like that. I like it. Punch it, says Lord Thoth, whatever that is. Yeah, punch it every available opportunity. Hail and howdy, folks, from Darren M. Happy to have you here, Darren. Timescales is here too. This music is insane, he says. Well, don't blame us for any insanity that may ensue. Enough insanity last week. Darren's in as well. Greetings and all that.
Hi, Darren. Hi, Wayne.
Calm, so collected in with that one. Simon Ashley too with an evening all. Evening alls are very popular, aren't they? There's a lot of aspiring policemen and women in the live chat here on Type 40 Live. At the Time Muddler's in with a hello, everyone. That sounds very prim and very proper. Hello, Time Muddler. Gary, you're a genius, says Richard Brooks. They're talking amongst themselves here about one thing or another. I think I'll leave them to it and simply say evening all back to our friend Sam. Sarah. Good going. Oh, it is filling up very, very nicely. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for this so far. Oh, hi, guys. Hi, Gaias. Oh, I see.
Gaias.
That's pronounced. That's going to be pronounced by somebody from a very particular part of the States, I think, Simon.
I've got to say, it looks like I'm just reading the thread, and it looks like Heretic OSJC's from London originally, but now lives in Dudley, Dan, which is like down the road from you and me. Literally down the road, Heretic. Come on.
It is actually literally
I know.
from me, about a mile and a half up the road. I thought you were in the States, Heretic.
How far?
How about that? It's a small world.
Yeah, we might bump into you at some point, Heretic, on our travel.
Yeah, people are remarking on the spikiness or not of my hair. Yes, it does change from week to week. I like to keep you on your toes.
It's been taking tips from Jack. That's what it is.
Yes, I'm going into competition with Jack. Yeah, that's where he is this week. He's sort of perfecting his. He's going to come back next time with it up there somewhere, like Adam Martin does. Our friend Adam Martin. We missed you, Simon, says the Time Muddler.
Oh, missed you too, Time Muddler, and all of you. It is really good to be back. I did miss you all last week. It's fantastic to be back this week.
Got one for you as well, Matt. Hi, Matt. How are things in sunny Australia?
Cooking.
Sunny.
He's cooking nicely. Sunny side up, as always, aren't you, Matt? Sunny side.
It's really hot down there, isn't it?
I am. Oh.
Hey, Matt. Yeah. It's really hot down there, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, we're just getting towards the end of summer, and it's showing the heat now.
Oh, bloody hell! 90, innit?
Hello, Wen.
Oh no, 95. Yeah,
95.
Wow.
Yes, he says. Heretic asks, when is Mr. TARDIS coming on the show? Hello, William, if you're out there. Good evening, Ian, says Richard Brooks.
Oh, yeah.
And hello, Richard.
Colin is having trouble with his view screen here. I had to refresh the screen to get the live stream. Well, give it a whack. Just remember what the Fifth Doctor used to do. He used to bang the top of the screen. It usually sorted out, Simon. Do you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely. A good whack sorts everything out. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Who's that fella then?
The rabbi from another planet.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, don't tell the girls yet.
Hello, Shah.
Hello.
Shah, we've been looking for you. We thought you were MIA, but good to see you there in the live chat. We're going to wrangle Shah back onto the live stream as soon as we get the chance. As soon as she materialises in one place for long enough. But happy to see you there.
She looks like she's on
Darren.
Sesame Street there.
Talking to Grover.
That's where
She's got your hand up you.
Yeah, I think you've been chatted up by a few Muppets in your time, I suspect, haven't you, Shah?
I reckon it's Grover.
Is that really wrong? That came.
You don't get any of this on Radio Scara, do you?
No, it's sadly lacking, isn't it? God.
This is why she's not on. She's just had enough of this.
She's gonna kill me. She is.
Dada Debaser says cozy. I think he's talking about the TARDIS there as well. Yeah.
We see an emoji there would fit just perfectly in that TARDIS, wouldn't it? That's from Carry On Screaming, isn't it? It's what's his name?
Oh, Cat Among the Pigeons here from Shah. I love how people always talk about how clinical the TARDIS looks, and while it does, so did the first one. I'm somewhat in agreement, but I think the difference with the first TARDIS is it had like the sedan chair and the massive candlestick,
the Ormolu clock.
Yeah, the soft touches lying around. So I am sympathetic to this, but I think that they got it right there. Those are the kind of touches I want to see in Ncuti's TARDIS. I think they should start filling it up with more junk. The jukebox isn't enough in itself. Definitely not.
You've got enough in the show itself.
Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. He's a naughty man, says that's Peter Harrington. I think he's talking about you, Matt. It's more than likely. Or could be you, Ian.
I am the naughty boy. Come on.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think it was our master from earlier on.
You've been talking to my girlfriends, haven't you?
It was our master. and I was just going to say thank you, Archie Collin. Yeah, Jim Dale, that's the name I was looking for. Jim Dale, who was nearly, let's not forget, the Fourth Doctor. Very nearly the Fourth Doctor.
It's a near run thing. What a bombshell. That's a lot more easy to imagine than some casting choices we've heard about in recent times, isn't it? So yes, keep the comments coming.
That's everybody. It. We never asked who he was going to cast as the cow. so many actors as cows, aren't there?
The choice is endless. Maybe Jinx Monsoon could have stretched to that. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? So let us know in the comment section what you think of all of that. Can you make any sense of any of it whatsoever? We're going to try and do our best, but let's face it wouldn't be the same without you. We rely on you to pull us through all of this nonsense. There's lots more coming up. Some of you may have spotted, some of it I can almost guarantee that you haven't, and there's one that I'm pretty sure is a bit of an exclusive. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
Make sure you watch Type 40 or the universe will crash on you.
What a great costume.
Yes, there's a lot more to come than you think. Silly season has sort of given way to quiet season in the Whoniverse. We have got enough virtual air miles made up here to get over to LA later on for a virtual look at the fallout from Gallifrey One this year, as well as the usual nonsense, the news, the views, the nostalgia, the nonsense, and the fan art, and all the rest of it. Ncuti Gatwa and Varada Sethu, they continue to film material for Series 15, aka Season 2 of All New Doctor Who. It's not due to be broadcast until next year, everybody, but it's still all over the papers, as is Ncuti here, fiddling around with something. He's got something long and extending between his legs. I suspect it's not the first time.
I didn't know he was a gynecologist.
Yeah. I'm not sure what that instrument is supposed to do, but I suppose we'll find out in due course. But he's lowering himself into the role very nicely. So we've had more images all over the press of these two still running around in period dress, filming whatever it is for Series 15 next year. But attention in the press is focusing more really on the person that's not there. So it's time for a change. It's time for doc change. Not sure if that makes any sense. But yes, so this is from the Mirror again this week. This is Victoria Johns who was reporting. All attention does seem to be on the person who's not present. Millie Gibson, obviously Ruby Sunday, who joined the cast on Christmas Day and already is yesterday's Doctor Who girl. Varada Sethu is out there running around instead. What has become of Millie Gibson? Now, I think we're all a little bit concerned because, we've barely got to know this actress and this character. And so I was wondering, what next? Are the rumours of her being basically fired from the show, Simon? Are they still in the news cycle? And sure enough, the Mirror is repeating this line that Millie Gibson was axed from the show. Have you been keeping track of this?
Well, no, I have to be honest, because it just seems to have gone quiet since we sort of talked about it. It feels like about 3 or 4 weeks ago now that we talked about this. And it's just all gone quiet since then. And I kind of thought by now we would have some sort of vague clarification. Because we talked, didn't we, about how it just didn't look very good, that no explanation had been given at the time. And so I kind of thought by now we might have some sort of explanation just to save poor Millie. So what does the Mirror say about this then?
Well, they continue to repeat the story that she was let go from the show, that she was let go early, that plans were changed. She was effectively dropped, and that the series dropped from the show. And the thing is, usually I'd be of the mind, Charlotte, that, we'll see how this plays out on screen. It's so far into the future. Do we really need to know all every bit of blow from behind the scenes on this show? But I am starting to feel now there are so many pictures of Verada and Ncuti out there filming, and this actress is only 19 years old. Yes, she's been in front of the camera a very, very long time, but I'm starting to think now that the speculation, whilst we all enjoy it, it could actually be kinder to put out some sort of statement, maybe. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think weeks ago they should have put out a statement, and the problem is because the press are just keeping talking about it, the fan base is keeping on talking about it. And to be fair with the fan base, majority of it I've seen has been very sympathetic to her. They've all been very sort of not to have a go at her, just to if anything, fight her corner and basically say the treatment's not been fair of her, that she's sort of been left out, sort of deserted almost by Bad Wolf and BBC, that she's just had to sit there, whereas headline after headline's been written about her. And I just think for her sake, they need to really just say something now and just let her almost carry on with whatever she wants to do next, whatever that next role is, whether that's, I know it's been rumoured she might go back to Corrie or she gets another big role. But yeah, they just need to put something out really desperately now.
A lot of, obviously, young women will be able to relate to her. It's exciting to land such a big job, such a high-profile job as that. But I think a lot of people, such as myself, who've got children around Millie's age, are going to think, well, that could be my daughter. I hope she's okay. That's how I feel about it. I just hope that she's okay, Ian. And we have got these pictures that came with the Mirror article where she has been seen out shopping here with her parents. And and she's not, obviously she's dressed down, probably doesn't want to be spotted. She's got the baseball cap pulled down over her head, Ian David Diaz style. Is this how you go out, mate? You don't want to be recognised?
I really don't care about this at all. I really don't. Seriously, she got fired. It could be for multiple reasons, but who cares really? I don't really care.
I just care for her. I just think it's a shame in that normally it just seems odd that normally they just would have just been polite and just said that Millie has moved on to new pastures. It's been a great ride for her. We've loved having her on board, and now she goes off to bigger and better adventures. Just something like that. It just seems a bit odd to just cut.
Yeah, I agree, Sam. You can easily just do a fluff piece.
Absolutely.
Have you not noticed that they don't do things like that anymore? They really.
But they
don't.
used. But they do.
Right.
Well, they do though. With whenever they're welcoming somebody, as I've sort of spoken about ad infinitum about the hyperbole that goes about when somebody's joining.
Well,
So they do still do it, and I'm not in any doubt they'd do it if Ncuti was, for example, to leave tomorrow. Don't know. It just seems a bit odd and a little bit unfair somehow.
I wish the papers would just leave her alone. There's been lots of pictures like this saying, "Oh, she looks glum, she looks miserable, she looks rough." I'd like,
we don't know the full story, do we? We don't even know the full story, do we? And the press has always been like this, taking pictures of stars and whatever and stuff like that. Again, I would say I don't really care, to tell you the truth. It's they do what they do.
It's a weird one, isn't it, Ian? Because we barely know the character.
I don't know her. So how would I care about her?
I think that some of the people who maybe watched her grow up on Coronation Street might feel slightly differently.
Oh, right, yeah, definitely.
Perhaps other young women might feel the same way. I mean, she does look very red-faced. She looks like she doesn't want to be she doesn't want to have a picture taken. Let's put it that way. But having said that, it could be any one of a number of reasons for that. She's with her mum and dad at the end of the day, going round the shops, probably going to pop in Greg's or something like that. I don't know.
Like she's wearing a carpet, isn't it? It's crazy. That jacket.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I'm no fashion expert, but yeah.
But she does look. She doesn't look. She's not come out looking glamorous, has she? If we're honest, when you see what we're used to seeing her in, this is very dressed down, which again is rather odd to be seen out in public looking.
Yeah,
like
something's
that.
happened, isn't it? Simon, something's happened, and so, and it's probably very controversial, and that's why nobody's speaking about it and stuff like that. So.
Maybe, but again, Ian, all I'm thinking is, I think back to, for example, all the controversy over Chris Eccleston leaving, and whether they handled it right or wrong is for them themselves to know. But whatever. Russell T Davies and the BBC as a whole did put out a statement, at least saying, Chris has decided to move on and this, that and the other. And so they at least did it correctly from that point of view. They drew a line under it and said, thank you and goodbye. Whereas this, they've literally kicked her out.
Yeah, but we're living in different times, aren't we?
Maybe that's it.
Yeah,
maybe that's it.
Yeah, but to be fair, the one thing that they have sort of kept actual news in the cycle about, and they actually have spoken, has been casting. That seems to be the one news thing that Russell wants to pretty much consistently put out there about the show at the moment. We're basically getting nothing else. We're not getting any monster teasers. We're not getting any. So it seems to be that. So if they can do it for that, why can't they do it for Millie? That's, I think, the
argument. Or on the way out. They're doing it on the way in.
They've done it for everybody on the way in, like quite with the fanfare, and now it's like
seem to be adamant about this, Charlotte, and they're also speculating that she was initially meant to appear in the Christmas special that's coming up at the end of 2024, but now she won't, and there'll just be a handful of appearances in the second series. So it seems to be that this is a line that they are determined to stick with this. They're sticking with the information that they originally put out 5 or so weeks ago. Colin Archer believes they're just going to say it was only ever going to be for one season from the start. I mean, the thing is, I could believe that because, as I think we said on the previous edition of the show, Russell T Davies never kept the same cast of 2 for any subsequent series. He changed it up every single season, so I think that's completely feasible. But there is something about these pictures, and she doesn't look happy. Maybe I don't know. I think there could be some truth. I think there could be some truth in this. Lord Thoth says the British papers and tabloids leave everyone alone. I know they are relentless. It has to be.
They are relentless. Yeah.
Heretic says Russell is a joke. Like people here have said she's 19. It's a horrible way to treat such a young actor.
But we don't know.
Ian is quite right. Maybe something has gone on behind the scenes that we're just not party to that explains all this. It's possible.
I'm not defending Russell T.
Maybe she walked out. Maybe she walked out.
But do you not think then she would have said a statement by now? That's what I've been thinking.
No, because if she's professional, she won't say anything. I mean,
in the way that Chris Eccleston didn't for a long time.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's probably even in the contract, Simon.
Well, of course, it's in the contract. They will all have that in their contract, and so you do wonder if maybe something has gone on here, as Ian says, that we're just not party to at this stage, and maybe never will be.
Yeah. Also, the way she's dressed. I mean, maybe that's just the way she dressed when she goes out, and
it could be.
She doesn't want to be pestered by the press. She just wants to get on with her life, doesn't she? So, do you know what I mean? It's not like I don't think she's hiding, although it does look like she's hiding with a cap. But I mean, I just think she's just doing her thing, and and obviously someone's taking a picture of her, and then you can put all kinds of stories to that picture. Oh, she's hiding, she's wearing a cap, whatever, But she might just go out like that. I go out with a hat every day, and I'm not pestered by the press, am I? So
I think
because you're wearing a hat.
I get the distinct impression that people do care, even about an actress who, maybe it's a version of the show that we haven't taken to yet, and a character that, as I said, we barely know. But I do think it's giving off a certain aroma that people are finding uncomfortable. And a few weeks ago, I was very much in your campaign, but now I'm starting to think that perhaps something should be said.
What's interesting is Heretic OSJC has just said in the chat there, with the way Russell has been behaving lately, I don't trust that nothing hasn't gone on behind the scenes. And that's the difficulty, because Russell has been, well, I think it would probably be reasonably fair to describe Russell at the moment as something of a loose cannon. And so I think
he's very hostile, isn't he?
Well, he is, and I think the thing is, Matt, yeah, we've grown to distrust him in all honesty, or question what he says. We're no longer hanging on to every word in the way that a lot of people were, back in the early days in 2005, 6, 7, 8, so on. So things have changed. And so he's a difficult man to trust or like at the moment, in all honesty.
Simon says, I just want to say best of luck, Millie. I hope you go on to bigger and better things. I think that's the mature position.
Maybe they didn't get on.
Yeah,
maybe Millie and Ncuti didn't get on, and they decided to let her go.
Yeah,
I'm sure they've got it in the contract.
He's been blowing virtual kisses to her across Instagram because they both use Instagram quite heavily.
They did that great video, didn't they, with them together in the car park? When they were showing off their clothes. And you could see that there was a bit of a.
Maybe the BBC just wanted to stamp down on the diversity and inclusion stuff,
Disney.
And they thought, let's just get rid of her and bring someone of color in. Maybe that's
what you're saying is it may not even have been something that she was either doing or not doing, more a box that she wasn't ticking.
Maybe. Who knows?
It would hardly be the first time. Black Glove Studio speculates there are rumors that this has happened because of arguments specifically between Millie and Russell T Davies rather than Ncuti here.
Maybe.
Well, that wouldn't be the first time that's happened, would it?
More on the males than they were the females,
Well, if I saw the first Christmas episode and I was Millie, I'd have an argument with Russell T. Do you know what I mean? It was awful. So, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Shah says that look is a classic. I just want to go out with my family for the day. Yes, of course. Of course.
Yes, quite right too.
Yeah.
And we've got lots more comments too, but pretty much along similar lines. People are concerned in the nicest possible way. Speculation is, I think, pretty understandable at this point. Never mind series 15 / season 2 that's filming at the moment. We haven't even seen season 1 of all new Doctor Who yet. It's coming. When was it coming? It's coming in May. So it's coming in May 2024. This is when it's going to screen. And I don't know if you guys have heard this, but I think I can exclusively sort of reveal here. I have it on very good authority. We have a date for the first episode of season 1 of all new Doctor Who. It's going to begin screening Saturday, the 4th of May. On BBC One, and obviously streaming internationally across Disney Plus there. So that's the date that I've heard from several sources now. Of course, May the 4th. That is specifically
Star Wars Day.
Kind of associated with something else, Matt, which brings in your cap from earlier on.
What do you think I'm wearing it for?
Damn, so you'd heard after all. So marketing wise, what do you think? Do you think premiering the Doctor Who season on Star Wars Day is a good move, or is it unwise to do this on a day where everybody else may be watching Star Wars? What do you think of that?
No one's watching Star Wars, mate.
I'm doing my hair that day.
I don't suppose it matters much to UK viewers, but it does seem a bit daft, putting it on Disney Plus on this day. But like Ian says, Star Wars isn't very healthy right now either. So.
No, it's not.
But it doesn't matter when it airs, I suppose.
I've just looked. It's the bank holiday weekend, isn't it? That weekend. So
they do usually do that on bank holidays, don't they?
Yeah, it does make sense. It makes sense that it would be that weekend.
Historically, it's been Easter holidays, that kind of thing.
I mean, the problem is again. Does anybody actually care? This is the thing. Am I going to be counting down the days to May the 4th? No, I'm not. It's just. Look at us all. We're all saying, "Okay, May the 4th." Right? Nobody's getting excited about it. Do you know what I mean?
Excited about though. That's the thing, isn't it?
I'm pretty keen to see this. I am really excited.
I know you are, Dan.
I'm pleased. I'm pleased you are. I'm pleased for anybody that is. Genuinely, of course we are.
I won't pretend I'm counting the weeks, but I am excited to see where the show goes next. I was very frustrated that a series didn't follow the Christmas special. I think it really needed it, and that they need to get this stuff on screens as soon as possible. I think this is probably a sensible date. To leave it any later when people are starting to go off on their summer holidays would be lunacy. But I'm hoping that this will be enough. What do you think? What do you think, Charlotte? Are they leaving it too late, or is it about right?
Like I said, I was thinking, because I was counting in my head 8 weeks. So yeah, it makes sense that they do it just before summer, because families will be away on holiday and all sorts. But I'm just thinking, if that's true, then the marketing better bloody start quickly. So it needs to really start kicking up by like next month then.
Early March.
It's next month, next week, so they haven't got long at all. It just seems really.
That's what I'm
last
thinking.
minute.
Because in my head I was like, maybe it's going to be later in May, because they've been crickets. They've been hardly any promotion. We got told basically by Russell and Co. Oh, we didn't promote the specials because we're going to promote Ncuti, and we've got nothing for Ncuti. So it's like, come on, you need to actually, like Simon was saying, give us a reason to be excited. Give us something actually beyond just Doctor Who that we're going to get excited for.
Retro Doc says, I'll be watching the Star Wars holiday special on May the 4th.
Oh, God, no.
Colin said in the live chat here on YouTube, I noticed that the new Star Wars series is not launching on May the 4th. It's launching a couple of days later.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's really odd, though, to not coincide the two. Really? Will they actually do that?
Bit strange. Rob is wondering why they're not launching it the same night as the Eurovision Song Contest. The simple reason is it's simply too late. And also, as much as I hate to admit it, Doctor Who probably would get internationally overshadowed by the Eurovision Song Contest. It's a huge deal. I mean, mystifies me, but it's a big deal. And realistically,
still big over here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And we need as many eyes on this as possible, as much attention focused on all new Doctor Who from our perspective, and that's what the BBC are certainly going to want, I would say. I don't care, says Vanessa Law. Just simply
that's me, Vanessa.
I'm with you, Vanessa. I'm with you.
Yes, as if the date doesn't excite you, May the 4th, they're obviously not set in stone yet. These things are always a subject to change, and it's not official. This is just what I've heard now from several places. If the date doesn't excite you, maybe some lovely artwork will. So we have this was revealed at the weekend all across the social medias, but it's one of those, it's a new poster or a new flyer, whatever you want to call it, and it's curiously though, it's one that is completely, well, apart from one pictorial element, completely typographical, Matt. They've gone with this long splurge, your time lord transporting, reality warping, dimension distorting, universe saving, wormhole evading, nothing is probable, anything is possible, time and relative dimension in space, cosmic joyride awaits. And then you've got the Doctor Who logo at the bottom and a TARDIS sort of streaking through the middle, and Stardust and all the rest of it is there too. So to me, this looks more like the kind of thing you get on a T-shirt, but it may look good on a bus shelter eventually. What do you think? You think this is going to work out there in the wild with the not we? Because I think that's what counts, Simon.
Do you know what? I'm going to be totally honest now. I sort of this passed through in front of my eyes sometime over the weekend, and literally it passed through in front of my eyes, and I didn't even stop to read it because I genuinely I just thought it was a meme. I just thought it was something that somebody chucked up as a meme. And you're going to laugh at me, but I couldn't be bothered to read all the words. So I literally just moved on from it. And that's the first time I've actually looked at it, and I had no idea it was official artwork. I must be honest, I think this is a massive misstep, simply because I can't be bothered to read all that, and it doesn't excite me. I'm being told that I'm going to be excited by this. Just show me something that excites me.
It reminds me of the Pepsi commercial.
Yeah, you're right.
In the 70s. Yeah.
They're right about one thing, though, aren't they? Transporting.
Oh, God.
Everybody's here all week.
Maybe they're being clever with that. Maybe they are being.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
can tell
feeling
that's intentional.
Oh, with Simon,
all those stars over there, Story, that must be right up your street, Sarah.
yeah, it's pretty, but again, you have to really be concentrating on it to notice that there's a TARDIS there and it is Dr. Who. I would just walk past that. I just think simplicity is best, and it's not worked for me. Yeah, them first images that we got of Shooter and Millie and Catherine and David, them 4 images work really well. This just seems a mess. There's too much.
Yeah, that's what it seems to me.
I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to riff back on the trip of a lifetime. But, you know, trip of a lifetime is just easier to say.
Correct.
And just, what's wrong with just having the TARDIS doors and a picture of the actors?
It's funny, you know, Sarah, because I think, you know, you think back to those sort of early days, sort of 2005 and that with the trip of a lifetime and all the rest of it. And it had, Doctor Who at that point had a sense of confidence that this kind of just looks a bit more desperate to me somehow. It's trying to explain why you would want to be interested in this thing. And once you've got to start explaining it, you're on a bit of a hiding to nothing, really.
There's nothing exciting. Remember that lovely image of Matt Smith and Karen Gillan, they were like that whirlpool with the monsters coming out.
I think it's even simpler. I think it's even simpler than that. I think what you've all picked up on is absolutely right. Yes, Doctor Who. Yes, Doctor Who. Yeah, we know. Yeah. What about it? What about what do you say? The timing of this is ridiculous. Doctor Who hasn't been on for a best part of a couple of months. Not that many people watched it. It's not on again for another, how long, Charlotte? Is it about 3 months?
Yeah, about 3 months.
So, you know, what about it? There's no mention of the Whoniverse on there, you know, like scan this on your smartphone. It'll take you to something on the Whoniverse app. There's nothing there as a call to action that people can actually do. And so that's what I think it reminds me of something you get plastered on a t-shirt, and that's that, Charlotte.
I think they've run out of ideas. It feels like they've run out of ideas. He's just going back and doing it. Yeah. Sorry, Charlotte.
There's so, like, Doctor Who is such a visual show as well. It's not like it's one of those dramas which nothing like visually knocks you or nothing really grabs you like on a Sunday night that they usually have. It's visual. It's got monsters. It's got the Doctor usually has something visual about him. You have the TARDIS. You have so many iconography that you could use. And like we've all said, they've just used a load of text and a very generic starry background, which doesn't really, like we said, we could have been a vortex. It could have been anything. I'm just sensing at the moment that I agree, they're not confident. Or to me, it doesn't portray confidence in the slightest, that you're doing very banal, boring advertising.
It's a bit like the sort of thrashing, doesn't it, Charlotte?
Yeah, it's like we said, like think about when Matt, like with that vortex image with the sort of him and Amy on the hill. With Eccleston, you had that first trailer.
Well, those were fire, and trailers and posters are really different. They fulfill a different function, don't they? I think we're perhaps looking a little closer to screen time then.
Matt, I know, but what I'm saying is it's visual still. A trailer can still be very visual, and the poster could also be very visual, and that's the trait which they seem to be not wanting to really use, which they should be.
Matt, if this is a teaser poster, and I think it's fine as a teaser poster. Teaser posters, they do at least say at the bottom, you know, for some big movie, for example, or even a big show on Netflix, it'll say, you know, coming, but it'll say at the bottom, summer 2024 or something. This says absolutely bugger all.
Yeah, it's someone trying to be clever, and they've just failed miserably. It's an awful design. It's very busy. I wouldn't stop to even read it, like Simon. It's just to me, it's not something. I mean, where would they put this? Where did they put this? They've put this on the internet, haven't they? And
yeah. Well,
I can tell you now, a lot of people.
In all fairness, it did premiere, Matt. It was handed out. versions of this with the Disney Plus logo on were handed out to attendees at Gallifrey One this last weekend in Los Angeles. So that's
a flyer, was it?
That's where this started to surface. So people, obviously, those that were lucky enough to be there, they snapped a selfie of them holding the poster. And so they were given out then, and then later that evening, they then hit social media with this, which I wouldn't call it a campaign. And it's not really a launch as such, but I think you're right, Charlotte. I think that effectively the publicity machine has started with this, with a first image like this. If they are gonna carry this style through, this font, this look, these graphical elements,
they're preaching to the converted, aren't they?
Yeah.
With this, so of course everybody that's a Doctor Who fan is going to be looking at this, because anything with the TARDIS on it, it's like, oh, what's this?
Oh, just sorry, Cliff. He's just literally come up with an idea now. He says, "Here's mine, all black, except for the TARDIS with the door cracked open, light spilling out, caption beneath, when I say run, and the date and logo." That's what it needs.
Yeah,
that's brilliant, Cliff. That's what I mean. Visually, something that's straight,
isn't it?
Grabs you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got the feeling that there's something up in Bad Wolf and BBC, because it usually when they're running up to Doctor Who starting, they usually have a lot of things, publicizing it and stuff like that. And I agree with Charlotte. I just got a feeling there's something up. There's some trouble happening that they're trying to.
I think they're panicking behind the scenes. Yeah. I do. I get the feeling they're panicking behind the scenes. I think that ties in with the delay in the date that we talked about before. That maybe they're doing recutting or even reshooting.
That's happening.
I think there is. I think there is a degree of concern behind the scenes that they've got this right and that it's not hitting the mark. It didn't hit the mark with the 60th episodes, didn't hit the mark with the Christmas, didn't hit the imagination of the public, certainly with any of those recent episodes. And I think they're panicking.
Do you reckon that it's the trouble that Disney's in, that it's kind of like
nothing to do with it? Nothing to do with it whatsoever. No, it's a far more grassroots thing of actually reaching the great British viewing public, reminding them why they love the show. I think it's far more fundamental. So do
you agree with Simon then, Dan?
Oh yeah, yeah. And the reason why is because we're seeing an upsurge of this. So it's kind of that season really for nameless nobodies that the public don't care about to be out there sort of speaking and justifying their positions. One of whom is Lindsay Salt. She's the BBC's director of drama. I'm sure it was a position she's fought long and hard for. I don't mean to sound dismissive of that, but she said this week in a publicity, this was at a corporate event, said Doctor Who celebrated its 60th anniversary last year and has never been more ambitious and brave.
Oh, bollocks.
Effectively, now this is a statement that was put out to the press as well. Really? And you think, well, it's just reminding us that there was an anniversary, and keep smiling, keep smiling, keep saying the right things, Lindsay, to keep it in the news cycle, Simon, while it's away. And she went on to say, whilst this is speaking generally about the entire drama output for the BBC, but she used Doctor Who as the leading example. Think on that.
Why.
After an anniversary that, as much as I enjoyed it, a lot of people didn't feel it. She went on to say, while others might become more cautious, we will go further to take the risks others won't, to task all the producers and creatives in this room to keep pushing those boundaries. Real risk-taking is also about protecting those dangerous moments.
Bollocks! Absolute bollocks! Go away,
you think of a time
woman.
Can you think of a time in the BBC's history where they've taken less chances than they are now?
That's the irony of it. That we will go to take the risks that others won't. The BBC are playing catch up with just about everybody at the moment. How arrogant! How dare the BBC even put that out as a statement of intent? That they don't take the risks at the moment. They just copy everybody else. That's really arrogant.
But you know what's telling? Not in any of that word salad. Quality writing.
No.
Not in one sentence.
Story.
Well, what does it even mean?
quality writing characters.
Real risk taking is about protecting those dangerous moments. What dangerous moments? Just explain to me, Lindsay Salt.
Putting drag queens in a family TV show.
Is that a dangerous moment? Is that a dangerous moment? Wow, if the BBC think that's what makes quality television that people want to pay their license fee for, you have to give up on them.
Also, bringing back David Tennant and Catherine Tate, that's a real risk, that.
I know. And if you want any more proof that they're all just in the little self-centered bubble and they just haven't got a clue?
It's just words, isn't it, Starry? It's just easy to just come out with those kind of words. It's just, as I always say, it's just hyperbole. It's just written. She wrote that on the back of a fag packet on the way in. Do you know what I mean?
Nobody smokes anymore. What are you talking about, fag?
On the back of her bus ticket. Oh, no, you don't get bus tickets either, do you?
No. The vapes come in packets. That's what I was going to ask. Simon Ashley says he agrees with you, Charlotte. I need them to give me something to entice me in. Pete Harrington goes totally black pill. Rest in peace, BBC. Utter drivel from the BBC says TARDIS travel. Allegedly.
It just... Yeah, and the problem is you put something out like that and no, you're not pulling the wool over anybody's eyes because the general public know what the BBC are like at the moment. And they've lost faith in the BBC and confidence and love for the BBC. And coming out with that kind of rhetoric, that's not going to suddenly instill confidence in people with the BBC, make them fall in love with it again. And nobody's going to be hoodwinked by this kind of rhetoric. It's
brave boundaries. It all adds up to one thing, and I won't say it. It's all bollocks, all of it. It's absolute nonsense.
I just can't help but laugh at the idea that we go further and take the risks others won't when they're trailing, as you say, they're trailing behind. And Doctor Who, I think, for the very first time in Doctor Who's existence, is still... It feels like a show that is a follower and not a leader.
Yeah,
it's
and the BBC, and that's true of the whole of the BBC's output at the moment. It's definitely not leading. The BBC's not leading. At best, it's jogging along beside. But it's just arrogant to say that you're going to take the risks others won't, because that's putting down the other broadcasters and without any justification whatsoever. You've got to be really confident of yourselves to say that. Or arrogant, or stupid.
Keep repeating, just repeating the same mantra, copy and paste, just like TARDIS Travel says in the live chat. Just keep saying what you're expected to say and keep smiling, everybody. This is hilarious. So the Times goes, well, I just think I feel quite sad reading statements like that because they do feel so hollow, and it's as if, and okay, it wasn't necessarily meant for the public, but if that's how they genuinely think, where they feel they are really placed at the moment with the culture, how far wrong can it possibly be? Yeah, Doctor Troy says Doctor Who was never going to be good after it ended in 1989. too many people with no talent and bad intentions. We lost Troy several decades ago. Sad to hear that, Troy, but happy that you're here with us nonetheless.
I hear you.
Yeah, I hear you, Troy.
But says there, Ian, that Monty Python would be a true risk taker for the BBC. It would be.
That's when they were cutting edge, Vanessa. That's when they were leading, and they really were. I mean, it's difficult for people, certainly like yourself, that are not in the UK, to get this. But back when we were kids, Ian, you will remember this. The BBC genuinely was the leader, and everybody looked up to the BBC, and nobody could match them. Nobody. And those days are long gone.
So much to be proud of. And I suppose now I saw a few clips of this at the weekend as well. David Tennant, one of the darlings of Doctor Who. I've always had a lot of time for David Tennant's work, certainly. But in my view, he made a chump of himself presenting the BAFTAs at the week in a cringe-inducing performance. Very, very self-indulgent. Just the clips that I've seen, which are through the social medias, were painful to watch. And sure enough, the press have jumped all over this, that the golden boy of British TV may have, this may have been a reach too far.
What went wrong? What was the problem then with it, Dan? I haven't seen any of it. There's no interest.
It was sort of trading on his persona the version of himself that you get in that comedy series Stage that he writes with his wife and Michael Sheen. So Michael Sheen was involved, and so was she. And he had several costume changes. And it was all meant to be sort of a little bit postmodern. And like I say, I felt it was too much.
Dan, did you see? Sorry, Dan, did you see when Hugh Grant came on?
Yes,
that was absolutely brilliant. I'm sorry, I really love that man. That man is hilarious when he gave away that award.
No, but that was an example. That was an example of comedy being good.
Exactly.
Because he did the whole Oompa Loompa thing, and he did it straight laced.
Yes.
It worked. Whereas
when he was saying it, the way he did it, he was saying it like he didn't want to say it, but he had to say it because that's where he was there for, and it was absolutely hilarious. It's probably, I said I didn't watch all of it, but I watched that bit on YouTube, and I just thought, wow, if the whole show was like that, it would have been hilarious, but obviously not, according to Dan, because he's terrible.
Yeah, I'm a David Tennant fan, but I have to agree with the Time Mother in the live chat. David Tennant looked like a man having a midlife crisis, wearing Liberace's suit. It was.
God, did you see Georgia in her clothes? Jeez, she looked like she was wearing a garbage bag.
With gold, she was wearing gold, wasn't she? Gold dress.
It was just all puffy. It was just all like it was gold puffy. It was like she was wearing a curtain or something.
Mind you, though, what's his name? It's really hard to beat, isn't he? Ricky Gervais. He's really hard to beat now. He's now the golden standard, isn't he?
Yeah.
I thought
that's because he actually has lawyers look through his stuff.
being a little more generous for a moment, I did like the fact that we did get to see David and Georgia out there, because they don't, generally speaking, this is why I've always had a bit more time for them, because they don't really do the red carpet thing, and they are quite modest, they are quite private. And generally speaking, I think David Tennant comes out with a load of old bollocks a lot of the time when he speaks for himself, when he talks about politics and things like that. But I don't watch the material for the political beliefs. I don't need to know about the politics or the religion or anything like that of the actors that I watch and that I enjoy. So I've always respected that. But I'm glad that I don't watch things like this anymore, like the BAFTAs. It just doesn't interest me at all. But it was to see the press going on David Tennant and a lot of fandom as well, saying, what exactly was this? It was a rare public fail for Mr. DT.
And he's done a lot of presenting the last couple of years. It's not like he's new to it. He's done quite a bit of it.
I won't even claim that he's bad at it, but I think this was a reach. I think that they think that people like that staged show more than they actually do. I think people watched it during lockdown because basically nobody was making anything else. And secondly, because there was a feeling of camaraderie. The actors were locked up as well, Simon, and they made it on their webcams and they wrote it together. And it was quite sweet like that. So it's like, oh, bless them. It's like when, when the child who lives at the end of the road has made a penny for the guy and you toss a coin in. It's that kind of feel. But when it's not bonfire night, when they try and do it in April or May, you think, God, should be out riding your bike or something. That's how I felt watching.
When was the last time you saw Penny for the Guy?
What is that? I have no
idea. 30 years ago.
Matt's going to be clueless.
We'll tell you later.
It's a long story, Matt.
The Hugh Grant and the Doctor Massive have turned up in the live chat, as they do every time Ian mentions him. You'll be pleased to hear. Never lets us down, does it? Hugh is funny. Book him. I've been doing everything. Yeah, all the jobs that Alison Hammond's doing at the moment. Just get Hugh Grant to do them all. That's Tennant exhausting much of the goodwill he's earned over the last few years. Yeah, I think it could get there. I think that you can have too much of a good thing, even an actor as with as much range as David Tennant and as much appeal. I think anybody can overreach themselves. Who's
I think the question is, why did they hire David Tennant? There's so many comedians around there they could have hired, but why did they ask David Tennant? I mean,
because he's a BBC person now. That's what it
probably.
Is.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, who did they have last time? They had that guy from the It Crowd, didn't they? He did one, didn't he?
I can't remember.
He was quite amusing.
Oh, yeah, I can't think of the actor's name. I know who you mean.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily describe David Tennant as a BBC man because he does work for other places as well, but I do think he's very much a figure of the establishment.
Yes, he's there as part of he's an actor.
I think that's what Charlotte meant. Yeah, I think so.
Vanessa says David is a character actor and he's charming. I agree. but not everyone is a comedian. I'm just wondering what David was thinking when he agreed. Well, I think it was a nice payday for him. And again, I don't begrudge, in all seriousness, I don't begrudge him that, just because it wasn't my choice to watch it. I don't know how many people did watch it, but I was struck by the reception that it got, and it's notable for David to receive that amount of sort of clap back, as I think they call it. And yeah, I think the BAFTAs sort of had their day, but there we are. There we are.
He's lying. I'll tell you, he should have been the Doctor. What can I say?
Yeah.
We would have been laughing right now. We'd all been cheering, all be waiting for the next episode to start if he was the Doctor. What can I say?
Sorry, he'll appear yet. We're just waiting for the day that a casting announcement gets announced as like a guest star.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
Hopefully things will start to look a bit better for Doctor Who sooner rather than later. Like, we haven't got that date officially, but I believe that it will materialise on May the 4th. Saturday, May the 4th, 2024 is when we'll get the next full season of Doctor Who with Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson. No David Tennant that we know of, despite reports. I don't believe any of that for a single moment, having investigated it and see where it came from. David Tennant won't be part of season 1 of all new Doctor Who. I think we can take that one. We can take that one directly to the bank, as they say, to the bank. Yeah. Once again, thanks from us to you for all the engagement here that we get on Type 40 for all the live streams and the podcasts. So you can get those at our home feed at type40.podbean.com. New episode about to drop there across all major podcatchers. So we're talking Audible, Spotify, Amazon Music, all those places. This time, got Will Hadcroft in for another chat. This time we did a deep dive, on his fabulous audio drama from BBC Books. So it's The Resurrection Plant. Of course, it's been available for a little while now, and it practically topped the polls of the Doctor Who magazine list, didn't it, of the best books of 2023. So yeah, it's a big hit. Sequel on the way. You can get the full inside story of The Resurrection Plant and lots of exclusive details about what's to come next from Will with his next commission there. That's on Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast across all major podcatchers, with more on the way, I'm happy to say. Yeah, and speaking of more, yeah, get it topped up. Hey. That warm drink. Get the warm Vimto. Charlotte, you want to get another one? Get another one. Still got some left, because yes, this is the point in the show where things get even cozier. Everybody, things get even cozier because there's an open fireplace. There's a little table next to a sedan chair, Simon, and on that table are an assortment of books. Now, some are olden and some are golden, but only one is golden and olden. Can you think of the one I'm talking about? Of course. What else could it be but the Doctor Who diary?
That's hilarious.
You sprung that on me a bit early there. I don't know what I just wasn't ready. I'm ready. We've ever started the diary quite so early. Here we are anyway. Yeah. This is the diary. And I have got to say, this is now the real diary. That was a Christmas present from somebody not a million miles away from me. There we go. This is the real Doctor Who diary now, complete with clasp and it's leather bound. And it's lovely. And this was a Christmas present from the great Mega Geek, sitting 2 doors down from me, or just below me at the moment. So thank you very much for this. So yeah, we undo the clasp, we open the book. It's all very, very exciting. And yeah, we're going to be spinning back through the years again. And today we're going to be talking about a classic episode and a birthday, and we're also going to be commemorating the passing of a legend. As always, we're not going to have time for everything. Stories that with 25 new episodes this week in years gone by. Stories that we were saying hello to include Frontier in Space and Death to the Daleks. Stories we were saying goodbye to were the Robots of Death, which finished this week in 1977. We still haven't done the show on the Robots of Death. It's coming. We're also saying goodbye to the Armageddon Factor. Nobody was desperately sorry to see the back of that one, I don't think. And we were saying goodbye to the Keeper of Tronken. all these stories were finishing. We nearly, Dan, didn't we? We nearly this week, because we were also saying goodbye this week to the Visitation, and we were that close to talking about the Visitation this week. We were, and I'd got it already, and it got trumped. It got trumped because actually it was all your fault, Dan, because Dan brought something to my attention. We're actually celebrating. We're starting on double celebration, actually, because today, everybody, not this week, today marks exactly 60 years since not only the start of Marco Polo, but also the first time Doctor Who ever appeared on the front cover of the Radio Times.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that. So this was exactly 60 years ago today that Marco Polo started.
And Benny Hill as well is on the cover.
And Benny Hill's on there as well. And Hugh Grant is there as well, as you can see. Now, interestingly, Doctor Who had nearly appeared on the Radio Times back in November 1963 for An Unearthly Child, but it got trumped. It didn't make it to the cover. So this was, by now, obviously Doctor Who was well on a roll, and so by now it got the hallowed Radio Times cover. And Marco Polo, I mean, again, it's one of those stories we've been meaning to talk about for a while and never got round to. So today, 60 years today since Marco Polo started back in 1964, seems absolutely perfect timing. What's interesting about Marco Polo is that this now marks, we are now into the show after the trial period, because originally the show would have ended last week at the end of The Edge of Destruction if it hadn't been successful. And of course it was, and so the rest is history. But that's why originally Marco Polo would actually have started 2 weeks ago, and The Edge of Destruction. So this story was commissioned way before The Edge of Destruction. The Edge of Destruction was just drafted in as a two-parter, as a way to finish the original 13 episodes that they'd commissioned, because they weren't expecting it to go on. And so Marco Polo would have been shelved, and as I say, we would have ended with Edge of Destruction. But here we are. Doctor Who, as we know by now, would become a huge success, thanks single-handedly really to the Daleks. And so on we plough with Marco Polo, directed again by Waris Hussein, who had directed An Unearthly Child, and of course written by John Lucarotti. The first thing that John Lucarotti wrote, he went on, of course, on to write a couple more, including the Aztecs.
Do you think, Simon, that when they got that second order for another batch of episodes, that going back to Waris was simply because he'd so effectively handled that initial block?
I would certainly like to think so. You'd certainly hope so, wouldn't you? I mean, Waris as well. We've got Waris to thank for the fact that we have as many snaps, as many telesnaps as we have of Marco Polo, because he had he kept all the telesnaps that were taken, and they were found in literally in his attic a few years ago. They weren't known to exist until they were found in Waris Hussein's attic. And apart from one episode is not directed by Waris Hussein, and that's the one, sadly, that we don't have any telesnaps for. And of course, the sad thing about Marco Polo is it is the earliest story that is totally missing from the archive. This is we've got everything up until the end of Edge of Destruction, and then this is where there's just this massive 7-episode hole now for Marco Polo. Sadly, it's also the longest complete story that doesn't exist in the archives, and I think it's probably one of the ones that we're most desperate to get back, because it just looks, I mean, just look at that, it just looks so fabulous.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I've seen the telesnaps in colour, and you know, the sets, the costumes, especially what the women wear. I'm like, oh, it's just, you know, so sumptuous. Like, oh, it's such a shame that it's missing.
Yeah, and like they'd had the Aztecs, like you mentioned, and that showed they could do these sort of big scale historicals. So they'd already had a run of it, quite successful one. So to me, Marco Polo's always felt like they almost were like, right, we've done it with Aztecs. Let's prove how bigger we can go, how more elaborate we can go with the sets and the story and the historical thing we're tackling.
And what's remarkable about it is that because it was just coming out of the trial period, that sumptuousness and the money that they threw at this, and this was a big budget production, that was an enormous degree of confidence that suddenly the BBC were prepared to invest in this product that they got, that they still didn't understand at that point, but they suddenly had a confidence in it, and it shows, just if nothing else, because of the costumes, and it has a huge multicultural cast. You know, we talk now about how we've got to have more multiculturalism within television. Well, believe me, they were doing it 60 years ago, because this is the first.
We can see just behind Mark Eden and William Hartnell there. That's Xenia Merton, is it?
Correct.
Oh yeah, from Space 1999.
Correct. And she is in fact the first, non-Caucasian actress to appear in Doctor Who. She gets that accolade. And they deliberately went out of their way to get non-Caucasian actors to do this justice. And so there's a real commitment with this story, Dan.
Obviously, this is a hard show to access, isn't it? Because it doesn't exist. And you have to really want to see it, Matt, don't you? To go and find it in, you can get an audio of it, the audio soundtrack, it's on CD, you can get it that way. There's obviously the book too. You can go back to the Target paperback, which is a nice, slim read. I think it's one of the best, but I think it's good. It conveys the story well. And there are the telesnap reconstructions. There are two. One which uses just black and white images, and another one which uses behind the scenes color images. You use them very effectively, but it is such a pity that it doesn't exist. But at least we have all those options, Matt. Have you ever sought any version of this out?
I know nothing about this episode whatsoever because
I envy you so much.
Well, it's the fact that it's just it's never been available here in any form. Not even in audio. So, it's just one of those things that I always, when it gets brought up, it's like, oh yeah, they did do an episode of that, didn't they? But, all I know is it's got the dude from City of Death in it. And that's it, isn't it? That's the one.
No, you're thinking of the Lion. You're thinking of
it's a different one.
Similar.
Wrong story.
Okay.
It's not surprising that you made that mistake, Matt, because this is the problem with some of the historicals. They do blend in together. I always get the Reign of Terror and the Massacre and those always mixed up because they're sort of similar-ish eras. So it's easily done with the historicals. The thing that's absolutely tragic about this, 19 countries bought Marco Polo as a serial to screen, it's more than any other story that has ever been sold overseas. 19 countries, and so the odds are it would be out there somewhere, and it still might be out there somewhere.
Somebody somewhere must have it. They've got
Nigeria.
I do think it still exists. I still think Marco Polo is the one that perennially, those are the rumours that fly around, that it does still exist. Believe it or not, in the 1990s, a television station in West Africa phoned up the BBC offering to return the entire first and second seasons of Doctor Who. And the BBC staffer that took the phone call turned it down and said, no, thank you. Yeah. And we never got back. We still don't know. We still don't know whether was it. Yes, Dan. That. I know. It's incredible to believe. We don't know. What was it? Because they went through the stories and the BBC staff said, "Oh no, we've definitely got all those," and so genuinely we lost nothing. Or was it that somebody was not doing their job that day and we lost?
But couldn't find their own
let's be fair, they didn't care at all about Doctor Who, so it was
that was like the BBC.
Is the fact why I know that. Look, I know that some copies are better than others. So wouldn't you go, I'll have any sort of anything?
Well, of course you would. Of course you would, Matt. Of course you would. So there is no excuse. There is no excuse for this. There's some interesting stories behind the scenes on Marco Polo as well, just very quickly, because there was the first Radio Times cover that you just brought up a minute ago, Dan. That in itself caused something of an angry response, allegedly, from William Russell, who wasn't very happy that the whole of the regular cast were cut off, and it was just William Hartnell and the guest stars of Marco Polo, and he felt wronged that they'd been excluded from the cover. And I think he got I think his agent actually complained to the BBC. And apparently there were sort of other sort of complaints behind the scenes about William Russell again was a little bit unhappy allegedly about some of the sidelining that his character got in this story. And again, his agent contacted the BBC and objected and said, you've got to use my client better. And so that's why supposedly then you start to get more focus on Ian in future stories.
They're changing the name of the show to Doctor Who.
I've got to admit, I mean, Mark Eden, he is very dashing. Although,
fabulous.
William Russell's lovely as well, but yeah, Mark Eden.
He's out of Mad Man, didn't he?
And of course, appeared. He's just narrowly getting missed by a tramp in Blackpool. What was his name? What was the name of the character?
Ted Sullivan.
No, in Coronation Street. Was it Ted Sullivan?
Oh no, you mean Ted? No, here we go. So Ted Sullivan was the character that William Russell played, who was married to Rita Fairclough.
Giddy up! Wow.
Mark Eden's character was also in a relationship with Rita Fairclough.
Rita, absolutely.
Earlier, he played. Was it Alan?
Alan. Somebody in the chat will tell us who it was. Alan
Bradley. Thank you, Crimpling Doubloon.
Thank you, Alan Bradley.
Ironically, both Mark Eden and William Russell both appeared in the 80s as love interests of Rita Fairclough on Coronation Street.
Spooky, isn't it? But only one of them got run over by a tram in Blackpool. Guess which one?
You don't get this on Radio Free Scope.
Final fun facts for Marco Polo before we move on from it is that Young World Publications wanted to adapt it as a comic book. Believe it or not, they were up for adapting it as a comic book, but they didn't get the rights to it because by then Doctor Who had been sold to TV Comics, so they couldn't do it. And this one, you're going to love this one. You're going to like this one. Way back in the day, in 1960, late 64, Disney wanted to buy the film rights to Marco Polo so they could make it as a Disney film. Get that.
Well, let's be thankful for small mercies.
Well, it would have been good, though, in those days, Sarah. It would have been cracking. Can you imagine?
Good stuff. They made some good stuff.
Back in the 60s, that was their golden era, and so they would have made a cracking.
They went all in live action, didn't they? 20,000 Leagues, and
that's exactly what I was thinking, Matt. I'm thinking back to those films they were making in the early to mid 60s.
It was
a lot of the
fantastic
time
one
British
they did.
leads.
The Scarecrow of Romney Marsh with
Patrick McGowan.
Yeah, him. That was phenomenal.
There was some fantastic stuff, and so apparently they approached the BBC. Nobody knows what happened to it, but they approached the BBC. Anyway, there we go. 60 years today since we would have been watching Marco Polo, and we'd had our radio times on our knee along with our cheese on toast while we were watching.
Simon, is that the actual cover?
That is the actual cover. Yeah. That is.
That's amazing.
And obviously, the relationship.
It's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, the relationship and the legacies continue to this day, despite the fact the BBC don't even own the radio times anymore. They continue to they milk Doctor Who fandom every chance they get, whether it's on or not, by giving it a radio times. How ironic is that? But
it is ironic, isn't it, Dan? Because we used to fight. Well, they used to fight. The production team would fight for Doctor Who covers back in those days, and never get them. Hardly ever get them. Hardly ever. When you think that Tom Baker never had a Radio Times cover, that puts it in context for you. Yet now, as you say, Dan, they're all over the place.
That is obscene. That's an obscene fact. Yeah,
but they were in those days. They were fighting against the TV times, weren't they? So there was one point where it was just BBC that they had information just on BBC shows.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really important to put something that was quite popular on the cover to combat the TV times.
Yes.
Magazine.
So why didn't they put Doctor Who on? As in with Tom Baker. With Tom Baker, it's still Baker's villain.
Yeah, it should have been Tom Baker every week for 7 years. That's what
yeah.
And when you think that they had Peter Davison, wouldn't you have put the Davison team on the front cover for Castrovalva, knowing that at that point Davison was just about the biggest star in British television, and they didn't do that either. It's incredible. Think of it. Incredible. Anyway, there we go. Happy 60th birthday to Marco Polo. Moving on, happy 70th birthday now to one Anthony Head, or Anthony Stewart Head, if you prefer, because we are celebrating the birthday of Anthony Stewart Head, who is 70. Well, just gone 70. He was 70 on Tuesday. Wow. Yeah. So does he still look good? Doesn't he look good?
He does. He looks really good.
He's got it, hasn't he?
I've always fancied Anthony Head. I fancied him from the coffee advert, and then when he was
Spot on. Gold blend. That was for people of a certain age, British viewers of a certain age. Yeah, we will forever remember him. Charlotte, you're way too young, bless you, to remember.
And that's Trevor Eve's wife, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Wife? Yeah, Trevor Eve got married to her.
Sharon Moore. Sharon Moore, her name is. Yeah, that's right.
Or did I get that wrong? I don't know.
No, she is married to Trevor Eve, and therefore she's Alice Eve's mother.
Yeah.
She
was gorgeous.
She's very glam, isn't she? But she looks wonderfully 80s. That's not a criticism at all. But she looks so 80s there. Fantastic! And those were for anybody that wasn't there at the time. Those gold blend adverts, they were a soap opera in their own right, and these two people were just absolutely huge on television at the time, weren't they? I mean, they were one of the first celebrities in many ways.
They had the amount of conversation going on around them and their relationship, considering that it was 30 seconds, probably every 18 months. People spoke more about their relationship, or as much as that of which was going on between Den and Angie on EastEnders or something like that.
Totally.
It was ridiculous. And it did make Anthony Head, even if people didn't know his name, it certainly meant his face was very, very recognisable. And I don't think he's really been off screens ever since. In one role or another, obviously, because before Doctor Who, it was as Giles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And then after Doctor Who was a regular on the BBC's Merlin show, so he's a big actor with a lot of genre credits to his name.
He played such a good baddie in Merlin.
Oh, he did. He did.
His Uther. You he was an absolute piece of work in that show, but you sort of got it why he was a piece of work, and he played it beautifully.
He plays a good villain, simple as that.
Yeah.
And also, he's very good with the humor as well. So if you ever watched him in Buffy, there were some really great humorous moments in that show. Yeah. Really good with humor.
A bit like the Master now, isn't he? With the beard.
Yeah.
I've always said that's his performance in School Reunion could be the Master, and in many ways, I think we've always been robbed of the best modern Master in not having Anthony Head there. And in many ways, we've been robbed of a good Doctor. I think he'd be fantastic as the Doctor as well. I think in fact he was considered for the part of the 8th Doctor. He was considered. I can't remember whether he was screen tested, but he was definitely considered for the 8th Doctor.
There was 2 rounds of auditions, wasn't there? And the screen tests were the second round, because we have Paul McGann's and people like what's his name, the guy who was on Whose Line Is It Anyway?
John Sessions.
No, the other. John Sessions did it as well, and so did the other guy, the guy with the really dark hair. He used to do the movie show on ITV, Saturday Night at the Movies.
Oh
because he was an actor as well. Yeah. Lots and lots. Robert Lindsay also auditioned. So I would imagine that. And Peter Capaldi. I don't think Peter Capaldi auditioned, but he turned them down, didn't he? He was called for the screen test and didn't go.
Oh, okay then. Incredibly, as well, Anthony Head topped a poll that they held back in the day for the 9th Doctor. He was the top choice of the public to play the 9th Doctor before Eccleston was cast.
I could see it. Yeah.
I totally 100%. As I've always said, he could have played the Doctor. He could have played the Master. He still could. He's still working. Let's not forget he was as well as playing Brother Lasser in School Reunion. He was also Time Lord Valentine in Death Comes to Time, just not long before that in the early 2000s. So he also did the voiceover for Doctor Who Confidential Series 3 and 4. So he's got a long old Doctor Who heritage.
Just dotted here and there. It's funny, isn't it? How he's always been sort of in the margins of the show.
Yeah, that it's sort of crazy that he hasn't had a recurring character of some description.
You wonder, Charlotte, maybe he doesn't want one. Maybe he doesn't want to be tied to that extent because he's got so much work coming in. It's possible.
Maybe, but I can talk from that time when he was in it in School Reunion, like that scene when he's by the swimming pool with Tennant. Like that scene, even though there was so many good scenes in that story, it's still afterwards everybody was talking about that moment.
I still
just chills.
Oh, it's incredible. I still maintain it's one of the best scenes in Doctor Who, period. Classic, modern Who, whatever. It's just one of the very, very best scenes. Not only is it beautifully written, but it's magnificently played by this pair. It's just beautiful.
You make a really good master. You're absolutely right. I mean, they'll never cast him, though. They'll never cast him.
Not now.
He's a class act and one of the most reliable people on international television, I feel. I mean, the character of Giles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer was, in fact, that relationship was deliberately, as imagined by Joss Whedon, a sort of an inversion of the Doctor and companion relationship from Doctor Who. Joss Whedon watched Doctor Who on PBS. He was very aware that Giles was kind of like the Doctor. He had got a library that was bigger on the inside than on the outside. If you ever saw that, you know, this is my second favourite show of all time. I could go on and on about Buffy, but I won't.
We should do a whole show on Buffy.
We love Buffy.
And before we move on from Anthony Stewart Head, I've got to tell you, anybody out there in the chat know who Anthony Stewart Head's brother is? I'm going to amaze you. For anybody that doesn't know, you will be amazed. Does anybody out there, you've got about 10 seconds to put in the chat who you think Anthony Stewart Head's brother is, because you won't believe it. Nobody's going to get it. Anybody in the panel want to hazard a guess?
Is it you, Simon?
It's not. You can see the resemblance, can't you, Sarah? You can see the resemblance. No, incredibly, Anthony Head's brother is another Head, of course. It's Murray Head from the 1980s of One Night in Bangkok fame from Chess. That is.
No, I have no idea who that is.
I have no idea who that is.
What? You know One Night in Bangkok.
One Night in Bangkok. Geez, everybody knows
that.
From
Chess? Come on, written by the ABBA boys. Come on.
Yeah, I'm amazed it's not even in the new Doctor Who.
I know the song, but I don't know the guy.
Well, there you go. Well, that was Murray Head, and it was his brother. And they both, interestingly, both Anthony and his brother Murray have played exactly the same part in Chess at one time or another. They've done both the same part. So they both sung One Night in Bangkok. There you go. There's your fun fact on there. And nobody knew who Murray Head was, so it's wasted. I'm wasted on you.
It's a great fact, Simon. I remember the record very, very fondly. So yeah, thank you for that. I've heard of Maury Mintz. Says
that's the one. That's his other brother.
Yeah,
I like it.
Okay, so as I say, I nearly said Merry Christmas. Happy birthday to Anthony Head, who was 70 on Tuesday. I'm just getting all timey-wimey now. Okay, so finally, we finished the diary this week. This is quite sad news, actually. This week, in years gone by, we lost 5 absolute legends. We're only going to talk about one of them. In 2011, we lost Nicholas Courtney. I still can't believe that's that long ago. We lost Nicholas Courtney in 2011. 2013, we lost Ray Cusick. Oh, we wouldn't even be sitting here now if it wasn't for Ray Cusick. Let's be clear about that. Yeah. 2015, we lost Barry Newbury, the original designer of An Unearthly Child. Not the first episode, but the next 3 episodes. And one of the absolute legendary set designers on Doctor Who. We will talk about Barry Newbury at some point because he is a true legend. And back in 2022, just a couple of years ago, we lost Stuart Bevan, which was just that. I think that hit us all harder than we expected it to hit us, actually. So we lost Stuart a couple of years ago. But we're dialing right the way back now to 1981 when we lost Ron Grainer. This week in 1981, we lost Ron Grainer. Again, we can't understate this guy's contribution to Doctor Who. Again, we might not be sitting here talking now if it wasn't for people like Ron Grainer. Because, of course, for anybody that surely everybody knows, but for those that don't, he composed the theme tune for us. Of course,
he was Australian as well.
And he was Australian. Do you know where he was born, Matt?
I'm guessing probably Sydney.
Queensland.
Oh, I was going to say Queensland.
Oh, why didn't you say Queensland?
No, because I thought no one would know where Queensland was.
Of course we know where Queensland is.
So he was go for the one everybody thinks about when they think about Australia.
He was born in Queensland, and he, believe it or not, he started playing the piano at 2. He started playing the violin at 4. He was giving concerts at 6 years old.
What?
So this is an absolute child's genius. This man is a clever man. You can see why he wrote arguably the best theme tune of any television show ever. And I think it is the best theme tune of it. You know, you give me a better theme tune from any TV show, there is none.
The Prisoner?
No.
He did do that one though, didn't he?
No, he did do it. You're quite right. He did write The Prisoner. He also wrote Tales of the Unexpected, which for anybody of a certain age Tales of the Unexpected will know that you can't do Tales of, you can't even say Tales of the Unexpected without doing a sort of a weird dance with your hands in the air and sort of and swaying your hips backwards and forwards and as though you're a go-go dancer. So Tales of the Unexpected.
I want this album. This looks amazing.
This isn't. Bear in mind that this track listing on the A to Z of British TV themes, the Ron Grainer years, and all these lists of iconic shows. Really, this is nowhere near all of them.
No.
There's many others.
So many of these. Interestingly, Man in a Suitcase. Man in a Suitcase at the very top of the list there. That was revived, of course, famously by Chris Evans for TFI Friday. That was he used that theme for the theme for TFI Friday. So you know, this is a man who's just his list of credits is enormous, absolutely enormous. He moved over to England in 1952 from Australia. He finally got out, Matt. He finally got out in 1952.
Joe 90's theme's quite cool.
I thought that'd be a Barry Gray thing because he did.
Yeah, I must be honest. Every one of those definitely is Ron Grainer. I thought Joe 90 was Barry Gray, but I trust this particular album that it's got it right. But I will go and check to make sure that Joe 90 definitely is Ron Grainer, because I could have sworn it was Barry Gray, but there we go. May Gray is definitely correct, because that was his big break in television, was in 1960, writing the theme for May Gray and the incidental music.
Yeah,
and of course Steptoe and Son, famously, which is on there as well. Steptoe and Son, very, very well known theme tune for that.
I mean, any of these themes, Simon, that people don't recognise, we just haven't got time to go through them all, but if people make a note of them from the image up on screen and just go and search on YouTube later on. And there are some of them that even if you think you don't know them, you probably do.
You will do that. Yeah. You will know them. Absolutely. This is a man.
Hey, I just Googled it, and Barry Gray did do the Joe 90 introduction.
Ooh.
So
I
wonder,
wonder,
they got it wrong.
Yeah, I do. I'm wondering. I can assure you all the others are correct. I'm wondering whether maybe he did a bit of incidental music in Joe 19. That's what would have been on this album.
Maybe it's similar to the thing between him and Delia Derbyshire. One arranged it, one performed it.
Could
we just can't say, can we?
Is this a real album? This what we're looking at here? All right, because remember they used to do those albums all the time. ITV.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
All the time. These kind of albums were absolutely huge.
Yeah.
He did the just as a final aside, he did the theme for Fanny Craddock as well. If anybody can remember the Fanny Craddock television cookery program, if you can't, Google Fanny Craddock. You're in for a treat. You won't believe what you're about to see.
Thank you. I bet that's what she said. The thing is, this theme tune, it can't be understated, can it? How every single component part of just this piece to the fundamentals of Doctor Who, to the DNA of the series. If any one of these constituent parts had been removed, be it Ron, be it Delia, any of them, then the show simply wouldn't be. it probably wouldn't still be running and still be at the forefront of culture. And it certainly would have been completely different. And this unassuming man there with dandruff, bless him, has got, this integral part of such a distinctive piece of music that people still wax lyrical about 60 years later. It's extraordinary. And to think he died so relatively young as well, I would say it's tragic, but I would imagine that his family are probably very proud of him.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, he died sadly at the age of 58 of cancer of the spine. So bless him. Yeah, poor man. And I would think his family very, very proud. I mean, I genuinely think there is an argument that this is the greatest television theme of all time. It's certainly, I would argue, the most well-known. I genuinely would put my neck on the line and say this is the most well-known theme tune.
Wasn't there a competition or something like a couple of years ago where they reckoned the Sweeney was the number one?
I mean, if we wanted, we could go down a real rabbit hole with this. I mean, I personally would argue that there are themes that are probably up there that challenge it, particularly The Simpsons, I would say. But
yes, fair point.
But this is next to untouchable. I'd say, it hasn't got many peers. Let's put it that way.
No, absolutely. And rather nicely, back in 2013, this week also marks the anniversary of the screening of Absolute Genius with Dick and Dom, where they cover Delia, Derbyshire. We're not going to go into any details about that, but it is on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube.
I remember that.
Yeah, and obviously it shows the creation of the theme tune that it obviously focuses on Delia's contribution to it, but nonetheless it just rather fits in beautifully that Ron Grainer we're remembering this week, and as I say, in the very same week, 2013, Absolute Genius with Dick and Dom. Go and find it on YouTube. It's a cracking watch. But gosh, yeah, you're right, Dan. We absolutely salute this man. Without all the component parts, I don't think we'd be here today. Simple as that.
Extraordinary man, an extraordinary story, and a fabulous entry in the Doctor Who diary. As always, Simon, thank you so much for putting that together.
Thank you.
Closed up, it's gone. Bye.
And people love it in the comment section. I'm happy to say too, the diary will be open again next time. Oh, yeah. More of the warm and the tingly here, and that's just on its way out. When you take a couple of minutes now for the Type 40 Live ad break. Yes, here we are again. Golden moments, golden memories from Doctor Who past. So we've got the faces and the voices of the stars that we love, flogging the wares that you may have even bought, all coming up in 2 and a bit minutes worth of concentrated gold from out of the TV archives. We'll see you back here in a couple of minutes.
Did you know there have actually been 10 Doctor Who's? Yeah, the Daleks were originally called the Mutants, and TARDIS stands for Time and Relative Dimensions in Space.
Radio Times. You're more informed because we're more informed.
Well, that should keep you grand snug for another year.
We've got gas central heating in our house.
Oh, you'll be even snugger than your gran then.
Where's your head?
Thanks. People over the road have got central heating. They did it last week.
On your own?
No, I had a few mates to help me.
Whether you're big or small, with service care from Southern Gas, you get service that cares.
These are some of the world's most advanced televisions. This set has a quick start picture. Here, full remote control. A 26-inch model with a high brightness screen. And finally, one that even has its own audio output. But all these sets have two things in common. tomorrow's technology, and the Phillips name.
Phillips, simply years ahead. I wonder what can be keeping him. Pardon, Your Excellency, but the people, they grow restless.
But my sunglasses! I can't find them! Where are my sunglasses?
Major Mondo, we have a pair of missing sunglasses to find. Perhaps I should inform the people that His Excellency is unavoidably detained.
Foster Grant sunglasses seem to do strange things for some people. Put on a pair and they seem to have just a little more self-confidence, a little more power.
Yes, this is Type 40 Live, where we cover all things Doctor Who, the world's longest-running, best-loved sci-fi and fantasy series, both on and off screen. Where are we? Yes, yeah, we are. So welcome back, everybody. So I am Dan Hadley. I'm here with the panel. You're watching on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook, but it's not all about us. Let's have your comments in the live chat there as we make our way through the rest of the show. Where is everybody? Here they are. Yes, we're back, swirling through the vortex back in 1996 there with lots of warm memories of Doctor Who past, present, and looking to the future too, here with this fabulous new old diamond logo. That advert there with Roger Delgado in it, Charlotte, that's one of my very favourite ones there, with the Master advertising sunglasses. Absolute gold.
Yeah, and it's a bit carry on, isn't it?
A bit.
Camp is the word.
Very, very much so. Yeah, I do. I absolutely love it. It's the novelty of seeing Roger Delgado. Apparently, is quite a jolly man in day-to-day life there, having a lot of fun. I've no doubt he had fun playing the Master, having said that. But I love that. I just love the look on his face, all the body language in. I just think it's fabulous stuff. Well, thank you, everybody. We've got more comments here. What have we got? Her kills, says Richard Brooks. Her kills? What? I don't know what this is about.
I think the chat's gone down a bit of a rabbit hole to do with Doom. I wouldn't look too closely.
Yes, I was going to say.
No, we're not going there, are we? Please, no.
We're definitely not going there. No.
They're on their own. You're on your own, folks.
Yeah. Do your own talking. I don't.
And we've got John Smith says he spends too much time in bed with his gran.
Why did you put that one up?
I've
That's out of context.
Bagging tune, according to Peter Harrington. I don't know if bagging means the same thing as it does here. But,
I think the whole chat has just gone a bit squiffy.
Yeah, let's move on. Jinx. Let's move it on. So for nearly 3.5 decades now, an army of Doctor Who fans from all over the world have descended. They've descended upon the Marriott Airport Hotel there for Gallifrey One, the biggest Doctor Who convention in the world. It was created and is still run to this day by Sean Lyon. Been running annually since 1990, only ever skipping that 1 year, 2021, due to the pandemic. And last weekend, Gallifrey 134 was held, boasting a nice assortment of faces as guests, all associated with the classic and the new series. And here we are again at Type 40 Live. We're gathering to compare our levels of FOMO, really, because none of us got to go. I think a couple of people in the live chat may have been there, but who did we miss? That's the question. Who and what did we miss this time? Because last year, if you remember, for the 60th anniversary year, they dragged in all sorts of people, the good, the bad, and the ugly, out to the sun. This time, I don't think it went quite as explosively, or maybe it did if you keep an eye on social media. When I was following the hashtag and I saw this, so I don't know, really, a friendly reminder to not if you've had diarrhea. So
I've just got to say as well, garbage comments has just come up. I still think Thunderbird 1 is going to launch out of that pool. It's true. It is like Thunderbird 1 pool.
It sounds like Thunderbird number 2 was in the hot tub.
Very good, Dan.
By all accounts, happily up on stage, there were some more welcome appearances. They're from Derek Jacobi, Billy Piper, Alex Kingston, Matthew Waterhouse, Sagan Akinola, whoever that is, Fraser Hines, Ray Holman, who's that? Camille Kodori, Jacqueline King, Eric Roberts, and lots more other people too. So let's make ourselves green with envy, maybe, on the whats and the who's that we may have missed. Yes, so it was all trending over the weekend, as always, Charlotte. This is how it tends to work. The people who are there, they get on their smartphones and boast about how much of a fabulous time they're having without us. Shocking behaviour, isn't it?
It's not like people boast at all on social media. What are you talking about, Dan?
But 34 of these things. Ian, you've been to the States a couple of times just in the last few years. Would you be tempted to go to Gallifrey One? Do you think that's a bit of you? Do you fancy that?
Absolutely. I'd love to go to Gallifrey One. I love Doctor Who fans. They're mostly sane people and they're mostly happy people as well. But I wouldn't obviously go to see. Yeah, generally speaking, they are. There's some really nice. I know a lot of Doctor Who fans, and that looks like a hoot. Is that David Tennant on the screen there, up there?
It is, yeah. I don't know what they're watching there, but yeah, there was plenty of people in residence, as you can see, lots and lots of fans, several of which are friends of ours, people who've been on the show, and lots of creative things to see out there, as always, from the attendees and the guests. It does look like everybody had a really, really good time. We're going to have some pictures here up on screen too whilst we're having a chat. So if you do spot yourself, make yourself known in the live chat, and obviously full credit to the people who took these photos, full credit to them, and thanks for sharing them all across social media with that hashtag Gally1. Matt, have you been to Gallifrey One? You've travelled to the States several times as well, haven't you? Would you ever go to this?
No. Back when it first came, when it was back in the early 2000s, when it first came back, I really wanted to go because, yeah, it was just jam packed full of Doctor Who goodness. But nowadays, I'm not so worried. They're more worried about safe spaces than they are actual looking after the fans. And so, I actually avoid normal just conventions now because they are quite frightening. Yeah. Well, that proves my point, but anyway.
She looks. I think she looks like she's having a good time.
I thought it was a he.
No, it's a girl. It's a woman.
It's definitely a girl.
It might be the glass. The glass. Yeah.
Dr. Jones here, Ian. You having a bit of that?
Wow, cool. That's really cool. Well done.
Good.
Whoever done that. Yeah, it's really cool. Really, really good.
Nifty idea.
Tom's the first one to wear a
This is what I like about it, though. How inventive, how playful people are now with cosplay and things like that. I would never cosplay in a pink fit, Sarah, but I do think a lot of this is really, really clever. Really clever, really creative. Yeah. And look at those smiles. You can't fake joy like that, Sarah.
No, it is. When we all get together. But like what Matt was saying, I think I would have liked to have gone. Oh, that's brilliant.
That's very good.
Big gun she's got there.
I think I'd like to have gone,
I like the
when Doctor Who was good and things weren't as, tribal as they are now. It can be a bit off-putting, but we've had lovely times at smaller conventions, so I don't see why.
Oh, fantastic. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Do you think it's unfair that the biggest Doctor Who convention in the world is held all that distance away, Simon?
Well, I don't know. It's difficult to say, isn't it? Yet again, it's this sort of takes me back to back in the day when. Oh, that's very good. That's really, really good.
I love this.
Well, the conventions that I used to go to back in the day, they just seem very, very staid in comparison with these. Back at Panopticon in 1985, you'd have never seen anybody dressed like this at all. And we've said this before that in the day. Oh, that's brilliant, isn't it? In the day, the people who got dressed up were the ones that were absolutely seen as weirdos, and they were the ones you would cross the room to avoid if you were at a Doctor Who convention. It's true. You would see people just sort of moving away from anybody as they walked in dressed as Sylvester McCoy or whatever. And now,
look at her.
Look at her.
There were loads of meeps. I mean, isn't that adorable?
it's fantastic, that, isn't it? And the K9's lovely as well. Where's the K? I want to know who that K9 is. I want the K9. It's very good. It's really, really clever.
And the
you know what's lovely as well? Like, it's from all over the place, the costumes. You've got classic Who, you've got modern Who, you've got some Big Finish with Frobisher. Like, it's just across the board. Fans have shown their things they love about the show, which is lovely.
Oh, that's the Muppet.
That's
Muppet,
Meeping Angel, yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun.
That
Very
Dalek
creative,
quite has a
aren't
long eye stalk. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, it's very long. Isn't it?
Adapted. It's sort of a cross between a new and an old. Obviously, there was guests there as well. There's Annette Badland, the British character.
She's looking well.
Played Margaret Slavine back in 2005, and has so she's playing the toy maker for Big Finish coming up soon as well. But yeah, fabulous actress, Bergerac, and lots of other shows over the years. A friend of yours there, Ian, on the left.
Oh yeah, Dom. Hey,
Dominic Glynn.
Yeah,
the Doctor.
He always goes there every when it's on. Dom
does he pay to go, or do they pay? Is he a guest?
He's a guest, I think.
Good.
They're
good.
Nice.
That's Steve Cole, the BBC Books novelist, throwing some shapes in the disco area.
That looks fun. That looks really fun.
Yeah.
You wonder when we're going to get our invitation, don't you, to go? I'm sure the invitation must be in the digital ether. Just winging over for the next one. For
Simon, look at that.
Look at that. Isn't that fabulous?
It's it's properly bolted together, I think, there. And that child looks so happy with himself. Just fabulous.
The amount of work that goes into those is just incredible. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I could take Lenny, couldn't I? I could take Lenny.
Yeah, we'll take Lenny.
I'll tell you what's great, though. The last one I went to over here in England, obviously wasn't Doctor Who. It's great. You get on the tube and everyone on the tube is people dressed up like Doctor Who and Star Wars and stuff like that. And you feel like you're part of something, even though I wasn't dressed up, but you feel like you're part of an exclusive club. You know what I mean? So it's great. It's great. I think this is great.
I found that with the smaller ones, to be honest.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. I know they had the Expos recently, didn't they, in Canada? And they had a few Doctor Who people
that's a big one.
Yeah.
Vanessa Law says in the live chat, it's always nice to see Doctor Who fans happy. And to be fair, a lot of the cast and crew, like Rachel Talalay here, the director of so many episodes now of Doctor Who, there she is, throwing some shapes. Seems to be dressed as Velma from Scooby-Doo, which is nice as well. She's getting into the spirit of things, as is this young lady on the left, dressed as the TARDIS.
Brilliant. I like that dress. Look gorgeous, TARDIS dress.
Nice. Yeah, nice.
She looks very much like Karen Gillan. She's got a Karen Gillan look about her.
Yeah. And they got the theme of Winnie the Pooh there with the other person. Now there's an assortment of Doctor Who fans there chilling out in between panels. I don't wonder, including Monica right at the back. Monica Duarte there from Temple of Geek, who's been on the podcast several times. That's her husband sat next to her, dressed as Peter Capaldi.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I've seen lots of pictures from people that we know, including Gary Russell here. Ian, obviously a bit peckish. They hadn't opened the buffet yet, but there's Gary tucking into a piece of cardboard with a gentleman. I hope it was a friend. I hope it wasn't a stranger, Gary. Just look like a
I get a bit offended if it were.
It's amazing. It's amazing all these people come together.
This is a bi-regeneration special cosplay, Ian. So people bang up to date. No, but going bang up to date with their creative efforts. You can't knock that.
No, I can't. I think it's absolutely terrific that the amount of time these people spend on making these costumes is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I can't believe somebody's done that. The android.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Great. I mean, you kind of you're out of place if you're not in a costume. Clearly,
No, not necessarily. But I just love how Doctor Who fans are come together and they celebrate one of the greatest shows ever made. I just love it. I just love it. Even if they're celebrating the wrong version of Doctor Who, it doesn't matter to me. I think it's great that they.
I agree.
I think it's great. Yeah,
of course. Doesn't matter which version of Doctor Who floats your boat. You absolutely go with it. That's all that matters.
And they often wear these ribbons and bands which are celebrating their favourite actors or simply a cause that they believe in or a trader there that they are there supporting. I understand that everybody creates their own ribbons which then get attached to these long trails and people sort of drape themselves in them and gift them to other attendees too. It's very nice. I like the spirit of community. I do love the spirit of community in this.
Well, yeah, and it's just nice, as I say, back in the day when I was going to conventions in the early 80s, you know, you were very much seen as a complete and utter weirdo at a convention, whether or not you were in costume. And so it's just nice to see that actually it's just so much more accepted and acceptable now, and nobody bats an eyelid nowadays.
They even accept cast members and cosplayers of Blake 7 there. That's Brian Craig. He's dressed as Servan. The Doctor Who convention back in the day. No Blake 7, no Star Trek, none of that. No.
But you know, when I was at one, I met this girl who was dressed as Jodie, and I asked her, "Yeah, are you a fan of Jodie?" And she said, She said, "No, not really." She said, "But it was the only costume I can think of to come to this convention." So do you know what I mean? So it's not necessarily if they dress up like their favorite. It's not necessarily that's their favorite character. It's just, you know, what
just dress up.
Best, I guess. Yeah.
Well, look at him down bottom right. He's got Rupert Bear trousers on for no apparently good reason. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Right, I'm going to have to go, everybody.
Bye, Charlotte.
Well, okay,
Charlotte. Good night, Charlotte. We hope to see you next time.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank God she's gone. Anyway, let's carry on, shall we? Let's move it on.
There were no doctors present, but Ncuti Gatwa, the 15th Doctor, did sort of put in an appearance here up on the big screen, got everybody excited. He apologised. This was specially recorded for the attendees at Gallifrey One.
Even Wally's there, look.
Wally.
We found him.
Well, he apologised for not being there in person. Promised that the wait for the series was going to be worth it, and did the usual sort of corporate thing. But I do think it's nice that the current stars, because obviously they can't go to these events when they're currently making the show. That makes perfect sense. But the idea that they can record these special little nuggets here, which I gather that this has been going on since the David Tennant era. I think this is a really lovely thing. And there he is, all smiles. Close up there. So that's what the attendees got a treat. So an exclusive bit of I think he was as himself though, rather than as the 15th Doctor. There we are.
Well, there you go.
Moving on.
There we rather a stony response there.
It is nice. It's a shame that obviously they are filming but yeah, I think if I'd gone, I think I'd be a bit miffed that I'd spent all this money and there wasn't any doctors there.
The timescales in the live chat. The timescales in the live chat said someone put this Ncuti video on YouTube and it was gone by the next day. So that it could be copyright. And Shah says, "I so wish I could go."
We all do. I've told you one of these days we are going to get invited. I know. We're going to get invited.
It's not about seeing the actors and stuff. It's about the community of Doctor Who fans. And that's what I like about these things, you know. Even if none of them turned up on stage, I'd still have fun talking to people.
Yeah, that's the whole point of being there. You're right here. You're not really going to see people. It's just
I do think that obviously the current Doctor.
Yeah. Hello?
I do think it's right that the current star of the show.
Oh, we've lost him again.
I do think it's right that the current star. Hello.
Dan.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you, Dan.
Look, it's okay. It'll just if it's buffering, it'll only be a few seconds. I do think it's right that the current star of the show represent there in some way. In fact, I think they should probably do it for more. I think for the Capital and maybe for Hooverville as well, which I know Hooverville hasn't got the attachment to the DWAS. But it's still a big event. I think there should be certain key events, just a little bit in piece wouldn't be too much to ask for.
No, it's a fair point. Yeah. It wouldn't kill anybody, would it? Just to literally just do something.
But I'm also aware, Simon, there must be some unique selling points to having the biggest Doctor Who convention in the world. So there can't be two big fish, I suppose, can they? It's probably right there should be one. But I think it's understandable that people do ask, why is it in LA when it's a very long flight for anyone in Britain? And I would imagine anyone in your part of the world too, Matt.
It's a 14-hour trip. Yeah.
Wow.
From Sydney. Yeah, so it's
14
like
hours.
Even
That's
longer.
actually, I think that's longer than ours, actually.
About 8 or 9.
Oh yes, yeah. That's why I'm always envious of Ian going to LA.
No, it's 7 hours on the plane.
That's why I'm always envious of you, because it's like, just a drop in the pond.
Yeah.
But it's always, those sort of things. It's hard because I kind of want to ask the tough questions when there are people there, and know that you're going to get it's a hostile environment. So it's like it's like wasn't it Chris Chibnall a guest last year?
He was.
Yeah, and no one asked the tough questions then either.
But they have. But Matt, they have people that will usher people out if they do cause problems. I've seen it so many times. But also the fact,
it's a hostile
thing, but also the fact that even I wouldn't cause trouble there, because you have to respect those people.
Yeah, I agree.
You don't want to cause them fire or anything.
That's true. But what I'm saying is that no one asks these questions, though, Ian. And it's like, you got the people right there. You just want to ask them point blank. But why did you make this decision? You don't. I mean, you don't be aggressive.
Well,
or anything.
They ask searching questions, don't they? Not necessarily loaded, but certainly searching questions about the crew of the production from the classic era. Although I don't think Russell's ever gone, I think Stephen Moffat's attended a couple, and he is more than happy to field tough questions and to be quite self-facing. I think it could be judged on a person by person basis, which I also think is understandable.
If they ask questions in a reasonable way, don't have to be a jerk about it. If once you're a jerk about asking the question and being really insulting, that's when the whole thing falls apart. Yeah. So if you ask the question, decently and nicely, and you know what I mean, then he should be able to answer it. And also, there's no point in pursuing an answer if he gives you a crappy answer. Just let it go, because it isn't really. Because remember, those things are celebration of Doctor Who. We're not come here to destroy something where all the fans of Doctor Who gets together, because it's a good thing, isn't it? You know what I mean? So you got to respect the ground that you lay on. Yeah, on social media you can say anything you want, but when it comes to actually being there with people around you, you have to respect it, right? You can ask the question, but be nice about it.
I also think Ian, it's okay. I'm not saying we should respect individuals as human beings and get the same in return from them. Doesn't mean we've got to respect their work, particularly when it's been,
exactly.
But I think the human being it's a slightly different question. And if you genuinely can't bear to be in the same room as anyone, I would probably approach that similarly to how I would in my day-to-day life. If I walk into the supermarket, or the cobblers, or the butchers, or the candlestick makers. I live in Dickensian London, everybody. If I walk into a room and there is somebody there who I don't want to engage with, communicate with in any way, I will vacate that. I will vacate that space. I will take myself out of that situation. I think it's up to the individual to judge. You've got to be mature about
there's an etiquette. There is an etiquette when you're there, that's for sure. But what I'm saying is that, you can ask people their opinions.
That's true. If it's nice, if you ask it nicely,
saying something flat out,
But you'll find out that there are gatekeepers there, like the person that's interviewing the main person, and also people around. They will quickly shove you to the side. They'll go, okay, thank you very much. We'll talk to so and so person. Do you know what I mean? But even if I was there, and everybody knows how I feel about Sylvester McCoy's Doctor Who, I don't really like it. Even I wouldn't go out my way to slag him off. I respect the man, yes, but I didn't like the version of Doctor he presented to me. So I wouldn't. Why would I mess up everything for everybody?
I wouldn't even. I wouldn't even if it was Chris Chibnall and Russell T Davies there.
Yeah,
I just would. I remember again going back to sort of the mid '80s. At that point, John Nathan Turner was quite unpopular, and there were some really, really uncomfortable times when people would put difficult questions to him on stage or to script writers to you know, as you say, Ian, at that point the Sylvester McCoy era was going through a rocky period, as was the Colin Baker era. And so anybody from that era that used to get up on stage, there would be somebody that would come up and ask a really awkward question, and you just wanted a hole to open in the earth and just because it's just there are times and places, and that's not the time or place, I don't think, to ask awkward questions.
It's the time for merriment and for connection. And what I like about it, looking through the pictures that we've seen, is it's not just us, it's not just us, the farties, the normies, the people who turn up in LA on a wing and a prayer with a dream. It's some of the stars themselves, like Eric Roberts, for example. Now, last time, he took time to get this picture with Sacha Dhawan, which I thought was really nice, really sweet. I'm not entirely convinced Eric knows who Sacha is, but it's still...
I don't think Eric knows who anybody is, to be honest.
I think it's quite nice.
No, he doesn't even know what role he plays.
No, he doesn't.
Exactly. He's had a very.
He doesn't know what the time of day is. Bless him.
He did add to that. I'm pretty sure that Eric does know who Sir Derek Jacobi is, and he added to his photo album this year by making sure he had a picture taken with the acting legend. Derek Jacobi was I think the big ticket guest, Sarah. Obviously, he's a man of some age now, and masses of credits to his name. I thought it was a great coup for Gallifrey One to get Sir Derek Jacobi at a major Doctor Who event like this. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the man's a legend.
Yeah,
and that was, before Doctor Who. I just, there's something about seeing other actors getting starstruck, and you got to remember they are just one of us, really, aren't they? And they've all got the little moments, and I've got to get this picture of this person. It just makes them more relatable, and two masters together.
Two masters, absolutely.
Fantastic. Exactly, Lenny. Lenny agrees.
He agrees.
That's Charlie.
That's not Lenny. Lenny's in bed.
Charlie agrees.
We were close. So Derek Jacobi was on stage answering questions, and proclaimed his love for the audience in true lovey style, the way you want your fruity old actors to be. I just think Derek Jacobi's wonderful, Simon. Every time, he's the kind of actor when you hear him speak, you're just riveted.
Oh, he's a legend, isn't he? I mean, it's just. We've talked about gravitas so many times on this show, and that's what you get in spades from somebody like Derek Jacobi. I still maintain that we were robbed of just a brilliant master. I wish to goodness he'd stayed on as the master. Great for people that like John Sim. Brilliant. I wept when he regenerated from Derek Jacobi, because I know we were never going to get a better actor to play the master, were we? But he did play it. He did play it for one episode. He is the master, and he's brilliant. I'd love to see Derek Jacobi. I've never met Derek Jacobi. Love to. I'm sure he's a lovely, lovely bloke.
I met him.
Great.
I met him when he made that. Yeah, when he made the film with Kenneth Branagh, the first film Kenneth Branagh ever directed. I don't know if you remember it.
Oh, that was the Dead something.
Yeah.
He was with his wife at the time.
Yeah, I remember it. Was he nice bloke?
Yeah, he is. My brother was interviewing him for Total Film, and I came along with him, and I met him, shook his hand and stuff.
I've seen him perform. He's an amazing performer.
I
saw him with Ian Richardson. He was doing a double act with Ian Richardson.
Wow!
What, live on stage? We're talking.
Oh, yes. In the oldest theatre in Australia.
Wow!
And they were doing a Shakespearean thing, and I wanted my mum, because we were huge fans of Cadfael. And so,
Cadfael, yes, I remember that.
And Ian Richardson had played a Sherlock Holmes type character as well. I think he played Sherlock Holmes. So anyway, we went there, and I was expecting it to be a Shakespearean play sort of thing, and I thought, my mum's going to hate this. But we both really thoroughly enjoyed it, and they sort of took the mickey out of Shakespeare, especially Derek. He just took he was spitting, with just so much spirit and thing, and he was so camp, and it was so hilarious. And I remember leaving, and I was just like, that he's a phenomenal actor,
Yeah, true performer. True performer. Again, would have been a brilliant Doctor.
Looking at the images and across social media and just checking back about the experiences that people had this year, because last year Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker were both there, and if you remember, we had several quotes from them up on screen. Between them, they said some bloody silly things, and we quite rightly were all over that. Particularly the timing of it. They were smiling when they said them. They were clearly having a good time, and I don't even begrudge them a good time. But they said some pretty daft things. This year, nobody's really said anything silly. We've got no quotes. We've got no, I can't believe they claimed this. There's nothing like that. All the stories are just generally pretty lovely about nice people getting into the spirit of it, no matter who they are, how famous they are or have been, including the other big star there, Alex Kingston. Obviously played River Song for years, opposite several incarnations of the Doctor. And you know what? It still wouldn't surprise me if she turned up on screen as River again. She's done countless audio dramas recreating the role. And of course, she had a fabulous reception there. I think this was her first Gallifrey One. I'm pretty sure it was. And there she is, she looks like she's performing Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Yeah, that's very Egyptian, isn't it, that gal?
Fabulous, and Alex has just turned 60, I believe, and still looks great.
Wow.
Oh, she looks incredible, yeah.
I mean, I never liked the character of River Song, but I thought what she did with it was brilliant, and I bet she's great value on stage. I can see her just being good value.
She outstayed her welcome.
Fans.
She outstayed her welcome as River Song, in my opinion. But
that's not her fault.
And if you get offered a job,
you get asked to do the work, and you're going to do it. I just never liked the character. It just irritated me. I didn't like it, but as I liked what she did with it, and I'm sure she's.
I'm glad she never came in the later series. That's for sure.
Well, believe it or not, it has been 7 years since she was last on screen. It's a big chunk of time. So
Husbands of River Song, wasn't it?
I tend to not labour on the fact that she was there for probably longer than she should be, because you could say the same about Jenna Coleman. It's quite a common thing,
Jenna.
I think. Yeah,
not Jenna.
Yes, Jenna.
Love me, Clara. Leave me, Clara alone.
Again,
Clara should have gone that last Christmas.
I would have watched the whole Jodie Whittaker era if she'd have been in that.
There were lots of people in the live chat there who are comparing. Lots of people really don't like this character, but lots of people do love it, and that's understandable too. But obviously, it's
a kind of Marmite character, isn't it, Dan? It's that kind of character.
Of course, obviously we're talking here about the occasion and the spirit of people who, whether they were in Doctor Who 7 years ago, 14 years ago, or 40 years ago, they go to these events in the same spirit of community and of family.
Yeah, when you go to these things, you know, like the last one I went to, and I was talking to someone about Doctor Who, and some people were saying, I didn't like this and I didn't like that. But it doesn't mean to say you have to kind of be an arse about it. Do you know what I mean? No. We'd have a laugh and talk about, we don't like this, we don't like that. And even if Alex Kingston did come on stage and I was there, I wouldn't be shouting boo or get off. Yeah, why would you do that? Because it's a celebration of
you should have left 4 episodes earlier.
I mean,
exactly.
I mean, we've got Jodie Whittaker coming here in a couple of months, and I'm not going.
May come across as a bit of a tit.
I think you would.
Oh God, you're a jerk.
It's one thing. Obviously, there's the people, the stars of Doctor Who, the people that we can't believe we're 3 or 4 feet away. But there's also lots of familiars there too, such as these 3 guys. We met them all at Hooverville last September, Simon. So there's Gareth from Cutaway Comics with Gary Russell to his left, and that's Ian, isn't it, to his right, Ian Winterton. They look like they're on the soft stuff, so it must be pretty early in the day. And they're doing a bit of promotion, which is obviously another part of it. These smaller panels are a very big part of Gallifrey One too.
I'm just sort of taken by Gary Russell's T-shirt, which I can see is an Ultravox T-shirt. He knows his music. He's a big early '80s fan. Is Gary Russell, and there's a fantastic rate.
Is it true?
And so,
I
just want to say, excuse me a moment, Ian. I just want to say to the gentleman, Gareth and Ian, there, if you are home now and you're watching this, because they do watch the show, hope you had a fantastic time, gentlemen, and we do intend on catching up with you very, very soon.
We certainly do.
Sorry. Is it true to say that the fans that go to Gallifrey One, they go out the way to book the tickets as early as possible once it comes out?
Yeah, and this is the strange part, Ian, and this now I don't know what, something strange happened around 4 years ago, because Gallifrey One, which is a convention, would always sell out every single ticket really, really early. Around 4-5 years ago, something changed that, and now they've always got tickets left, even as late as the final week. I can't imagine what happened in Doctor Who around 2018, 2019.
I thought you were being serious.
Time flies, doesn't it? So anybody any clue about what could have possibly have happened in the live chat? Well, would be all ears. Jacqueline King was there too. Sarah, obviously, that's Donna's mum.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, we love Sylvia.
Good times.
There's so many people there that I would love to meet. But again, it's that balance between seeing people you like and just hanging out with your friends and meeting new people. It'd be really cool to meet more American fans, and have that international.
Dan is right. It is a shame that it's in LA and it's not over here in the UK, the place where it was born. Yeah. But LA has more money, so they have more money than us.
And I mean, there's every opportunity for somebody to do it in the UK. It's not like it's been put out, taken over to America against the UK. They just set it up, and good luck to them. Who can blame them? It's working.
Gary Akers is in the live chat, who I know is. Gary Akers in the live chat, who I know used to be a regular attendee of Gallifrey One, and says Galley tickets used to sell out within a day a few years ago. Now there's tickets up to the week of. Yeah, I had heard it was something like that, Ian. So thank you for that, Gary.
In the David Tennant era, you could not get a ticket, and he wasn't even there.
Just goes to show, don't it?
Yeah. It was. So you asked earlier on, was Dominic Glynn there as a guest, or was he attending? He was there playing. He was up there playing some. Playing some music, getting into it there. Feeling it.
Let me tell you about Dominic. Right, Dominic is the most gentlest person I've ever met in my entire life. The guy is so gentle. It's ridiculous how gentle he is. He's very much a flower power man. Do you know what I mean? He wouldn't say boo to a ghost. He really is such a nice chap. He really is. And brilliant. I work with him. He's a brilliant guy to work with. He doesn't argue. He obviously discusses and stuff like that. I've never met anyone like Dominic. He's such a great guy. Definitely.
Well, when we had him on the podcast, he was fabulous company and so playful. I mean, he took the piss out of me blind, but I forgive you, Dominic. I forgive you. He was great company. He told the story of his contributions to Doctor Who and so thoroughly, considering that it was all those years ago. As well as Dominic, Sagan Akinola was also there speaking about his work on Doctor Who, which again,
what did he do again?
Yeah, his work wasn't universally
he did a thing called
praised.
Ambience.
What was it? I don't even know. What was he, Dan? I don't even. Who did he play?
He was the composer.
He was the Murray Gold of that era.
Right.
He was the composer. We can only let's speak one voice at a time. It gets into a mess with 2 or 3 people at the same time. Sagan Akinola was the composer on the Chris Chibnall era. All throughout it. So again, a figure who is, I wouldn't say problematic figure, but
he's rubbish.
Yeah,
it's absolute rubbish.
Well, I can't remember him says it all.
I wasn't very impressed with his contribution at the concert in Cardiff. When Joe Wiley was interviewing him, he didn't seem very enthusiastic at all. The answers he gave, there was no real insight. Maybe. I'd be interested to know if he actually gives more of an insight.
Maybe it was the first experience for him, or just maybe he's not a natural kind of entertainer.
Maybe. I do know we can't compose for shit. I know that. Really terrible music he did. For
I thought
Doctor
his
Who.
music was okay. I thought some of it was all right, to be honest.
Rubbish.
What do you think Matt's got in his headphones now? The greatest hits of Sagan. Yeah, I mean, he does seem like quite a quietly spoken man who's really into his music. And yeah, I like a lot of his non-Doctor Who stuff. I think it sounds quite good. But
what had he done prior to this, though, Dan? What had he done prior to Doctor Who?
Exactly what you said. A lot of kind of ambient, kind of dance mood music. The kind of Matt, you know, the kind of music that you play when you're creating. You know, when you're drawing, when you're that kind of music. And
YouTube background videos.
I'm afraid if I'm afraid if I was being cruel, I would probably
if I show
say
up
that.
a film of my dog, then I'm going to have his music in the background.
I think I'd rather listen to music by Rachel Talalay, even though she's not known for her. She's not known for her musical talents. I think you get a better tune out of Rachel there. She was there, so she does a lot of fan events now, and again very engaged on social media. It was nice to see her there. The only person I think from the 60th anniversary specials that I can think of, but there was a reunion of the Tyler family. So we got Camille Kaduri.
Oh, that's lovely.
With Sean and Billy. So I just thought this was so lovely.
I'd go to a convention just for Billy.
Yeah, I mean, she does quite a
I
few.
would. Do you know what, Matt? Because I just have such good memories. I look at these three, and it's just like, you know, my first Doctor Who family. And it just makes me so happy.
Yeah. And they look good as well for that, considering it's a few years ago now, and they're looking good.
I got to admit, Billy looks very different, doesn't she, Billy?
She does look very
Bill's not aged, does she?
No?
Very strange. Yeah.
I like how Sean's going for the William Hartnell haircut there. I wonder if that's it looks like it could be for a role, doesn't it? The way he's got it cut.
Yeah, I didn't recognise him to begin with because he just had that short hair for the longest time, didn't he?
Yeah. It's great to see them all, though.
Yeah, it is.
They brought him back.
It's just lovely. Billy's gone red. Red hair this time.
Yeah. I didn't recognise when I saw the photos of her there. I must be honest, I didn't recognise her to begin with.
Is it not due to the show she's making now that she's got? Or is that a natural colour? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But she does look very different. All the puppy fat's gone from her face, and obviously she's a more mature woman now. So yeah.
And she was married to Lawrence Fox for a while, so
yeah, several years. She's just split from her partner again, the guy she's been with for about the last 7 or 8 years. A musician this time. I can't remember his name. I think he was with the Lost Prophets, something like that.
Are you saying she's single now, Dan?
She's single, mate. Go and throw your hat in the ring.
Yeah.
Your Star Wars cap. Throw your cap in the ring. There's also a panel.
And me glass.
There's also a panel discussing what it was like working at the BBC in the 1980s. Ooh. So here we've got we have Kevin. We've got Keith Barnfather, friend of the show. There's Simon. He's been on several times. So there's Keith there on the far right. We've got Fraser Hines. We've got Brian Croucher from Blake 7, but was also a Doctor Who guest star too. Yeah. We've got Matthew Waterhouse. And we've got Kevin John Davies there finally on the far right, who made more than 30 years in the TARDIS and who worked extensively at the BBC, particularly on the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the TV version of that. So I imagine that was a riveting general conversation about what it was like working for the corporation when their reputation was justified as the biggest and the best in the world, Simon.
Yeah, 100%. It's lovely to see Matthew Waterhouse there. Is that the first time he's been to Gallifrey One?
Ooh, I'd be surprised because he lived in the States for quite a long time.
He did, you're quite right. So it's just nice to see him there because, you know, when you think that Adric just got so much stick through the years. And so it's lovely.
I loved him. He was awesome.
Yeah, a lot of us did, but he did get a lot of stick. And so it's just nice to see him welcomed back into the fold. And Brian Croucher, I mean, that's a real turn up for the book to see Brian Croucher there. I mean, he's only no reason why he shouldn't be there, but he's only done one Doctor Who, hasn't he? He's obviously known for Blake 7 more rather than Doctor Who. So I've certainly never seen him at a convention before. It's fun, good to see him there.
I don't understand where this hate for Adric comes from, though. I really don't.
It's a long story. It's the same as the hate for Wesley Crusher, really. It's teenage lad. You got an audience of mostly awkward teenage lads watching the show who wish they could be on it. All of a sudden, why does he get to be on it and not me? It was largely that. But Brian
jealousy.
was there. Brian was there largely as part of this small Blake 7 panel with Jan Chappell and Sally Nivette there, which I do think this is a nice thing that they had a bit of a Blake 7 panel.
Yeah, fantastic. Why not? Yeah,
particularly
brilliant.
as it was hosted by our friend Ken Deep as well, who's been on the podcast and who is such a big part of Doctor Who Podcast Day, which we originated here at Type 40. And there he is. He's a massive Blake 7 fan. Just look at the look on Ken's face.
Yeah, he's living his best life. I'm so jealous of Ken. I'd love to have gone to this panel.
What's interesting is that the guy, I can't remember his name, the guy in the middle,
Brian Croucher.
He's just basically come in his underwear.
I know. In his shorts, he just doesn't give a damn, does he?
Doesn't care. Yeah.
You know the funny thing is, Ian. I met Brian Croucher as well back. This was in 1995 when he was in Downtime. Hello, Gary.
Yeah, I remember that,
when he was in Downtime, and this was at the NEC. They were doing a big launch for it, and Sophie was there, and several others. And I went all along the line for all of the actors to sign the sleeve to my Downtime VHS. And Brian Croucher was dressed exactly like that.
Oh, wow.
30 years ago next year. Gary, if you want, come on and do a 30 years of Downtime show with us, please. I know he's watching. He always watches.
Callie still looks good. I can't remember her real name, Callie.
Jan Chappell.
She looks great. She looks great. Look at that. It's fantastic.
Look how happy they look. Look how happy they are, recounting their days aboard the Liberator, Sarah. You know, I mean, Jan kind of left under a bit of a not a cloud as such, because I think it was because she got all the work on. But, you know, she left it unceremoniously. You know, Sally was really frustrated on the show, but you can tell that that's long behind them. This is lovely. And why not have more Blake 7 there?
The thing about things like that is when you look back, you realize how good you had it. Do you know what I mean? When you're doing something like that and you're working for the BBC and there's all these constraints and stuff, it kind of gets to you. Do you know what I mean? And they can look back now and be proud they were part of Blake 7. Blake 7's a great show. Do you know what I mean? So even though it was cheap, it people remember it with fond memories, and it's become a cult thing, you know, and they're happy to be a part of that, which is great, right? So
yeah, it's all good.
I think that they feel differently about it than they did
when they were doing
when they
it.
were probably
I think they realise how loved they are, and I love the series and everything associated with it, and it must be a lovely feeling, you know. To come back into that fold.
When you're there, you can't see the wood from the trees. Do you know what I mean? And then, you know, when you look back, you know, you think, oh yeah, I did have a good time. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So yeah.
So Ian, when you're looking at these pictures and you see the stars of Blake 7 and Doctor Who on stage there, and you think, my God, I missed a chance to see them, to hear them talk about these fabulous things. And you think, oh my God, I've got to get there next time. You get hit with a bad case of FOMO. It's not all bad news. At least you missed this, what must have been painful bit of improv. I can't stand improv, but apparently, this was quite a thing as well. It looks like with improv, it always looks to me like the actors, the people performing it, are having a lot more fun than the poor buggers who are watching. But seriously, if you do enjoy improv and you were there for this and it was your bag, then of course I wouldn't begrudge it you. I wouldn't begrudge it you either. Any more than I would Big Finish fans. Yeah, Big Finish had a presence there as well. They always have a panel. They always take a select amount of cast members and crew from their various audio lines, and they often launch brand new projects. And it was no exception this time. They'd got our friend Jonathan Carley there, who was on the show with us in Sheffield, Simon, in Derby, sorry. So he was there with us in Derby.
Indeed,
Jay Griffiths is there as well, who's been in The Bill and Bugs and all these other shows. So she was there talking about her role in the 8th Doctor audios. That's John Dorney, the writer, one of Big Finish's best writers, there next to her, and the chairman, Big Finish chairman, Jason Hay-Gallery, there on the right. So they launched this brand new series for their own 25th anniversary, Dark Gallifrey, which we'll be talking about on a future edition of the show. But it's only right that Big Finish also be represented there, as well as the other unlicensed, unofficial stuff, and the things that concern other properties, connected properties, like the stuff that Gareth does for Cutaway Comics. I just think it's pretty wonderful that it encompasses everything, because obviously Gallifrey One isn't an official event, Sarah.
No, and but it should be there. You know, they've been around here long enough now. They've got their own devoted following, and everybody
flogging their wares.
They do, and it's lovely to see Jonathan rocking the cravat again. He always looks so well dressed at conventions. Love that kind of thing.
Yeah, he really stands out. I think I told him when we spoke to him that I thought he looked like a Peaky Blinder who just needed the coat. He hasn't taken my style my style advice, but he still looks pretty good anyway. And there they all. That's all the celebs. There you got Sagan and Dominic and Matthew and Fraser. Fraser looks like he can't wait for it to wrap up. There's Billy and Jack and Sean. Yeah, everybody's there. I really like this. I like that they line everybody up, but it's not just the stars. They do it for the people who put the shows together as well. Everybody gets a round of applause at these events, which I think it's lovely. It really is. So I know that a couple of people in the live chat were there for Gallifrey 134, and please drop us a comment and let us know, was this experience very true to yours? Whose panel did you enjoy the most? And what did we miss? Rub the salt in, rub it in deep, and give us some FOMO, please, by all means. Sally Nivette was great in Spare Parts. Isn't there a role for her on the TV show of Doctor Who? Russell asks Crumpling the Bloom. Doesn't look like it, does it, mate?
No.
Doesn't look like it. No.
We know what's going on.
I've already got the quota of one old person.
And even Dobson's got ticking that box for the time being.
Yeah.
Where was Avenue Who? Asks Richard Brooks. You'll have to ask JJ whether maybe he couldn't make it. I don't know. Maybe he was doing something else.
Yeah.
That version of Davros is offensive. How dare they?
Yeah, I'm definitely offended.
Yeah, wheelchairs. What's that all about? Yeah,
very, very on the ball. Big Finish has made Doctor Who as long as the classic era. Yes, that's lots of fans of Spare Parts. Yes, the quiz would be fantastic. The quiz at the convention? Do they do a quiz?
Unfortunately, we've been chatting in the chat about this. That Retro Doc apparently used to do the quizzes, as I understand, at Gallifrey One.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
And so Retro Doc has got all the questions, and so he's been saying, "Oh, why don't if ever anybody Type 40 wants to do a quiz, I've got all the questions." And I'm saying, "Yeah, let's do a quiz. Let's do a quiz."
Let's sort. Oh, I can see Shah. I can see Shah is encouraging him there.
It's all got chatting about this idea of doing a quiz with Retro Doc's questions, which is just a brilliant idea. Got to do it.
I think that could fit in very nicely with some of the plans that we've been hatching, Sarah. We'll definitely have to talk to Gary about that. The quiz would be fantastic, suggests Richard Brooks. I'm pretty sure it almost certainly would. That was Gallifrey 134. They're doing it all again next year. Of course they are. Gallifrey 135 in 30.
See what they did there.
Yeah,
who comes up with these iffy themes?
What on earth are we going to do for 36? That's what I want to know, Dan. I can't think of anything 36.
No, they'll think of something very, very tenuous. It is a little bit cringe. It is a bit like a long-running dad joke. But hey, if that's their thing, then that's their thing. Who am I to criticise? I don't know if you can book these tickets yet. I would imagine they'll be opening pretty soon. They do stay open for a few months. It's at the same location. So the Marriott Airport Hotel in Los Angeles. Again, that's the 14th to the 16th of February 2025. I suspect that there will be no objections whatsoever if you want to book up to that event as early as you possibly can. Tempted, Simon?
Yeah, no, I'm just waiting for the invitation. I'm not in any doubt that next year is our year, and we will be invited over to Gallifrey One next year to do a podcast.
All expenses paid.
Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice. But I'm definitely thinking we'll be invited next year to do a show. Yeah. Come on, guys.
The tickets go on sale in May. Tickets go on sale in May according to the time scales. Thank you very much, Grego. Yeah, I was wondering. Quiz show now, says Colin Archer. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Come back to that another time. Yeah. Reverse the polarity, 63 to 36. There we go. Peter's on the case.
Oh, very good, Peter.
Oh, I don't think I can top that, so I'm not going to even try. So yes, head over to Gallifrey One. They've got a presence on all social media platforms, and just tell them that you've seen the pictures, you're following the hashtag, and you're keen to book up. And tell them that Type 40 sent you as well. And I've tagged them in this too, so hopefully they'll see. And I'd like to get Sean on, actually. Maybe we can get a conversation going on. That would be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. Until then...
Maybe that's what we should do. We need to get Sean on there. That's what we need to do. And then we'll get
a laugh. It'd be a laugh, wouldn't it? Because, we could at least get him following the show. Like this
podcast. Just want video evidence.
Play this podcast.
What app have you got?
I don't know. We didn't. Oh, I know.
This is the best conversation I've ever been involved in.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to send that to myself.
Yes.
Right? So I know it's you.
We'll see us all on there.
Okay.
You might change your mind when you see it.
Don't say that, Sarah.
Absolutely brilliant. That's
Always makes me laugh.
I don't know if Paul's got the hang of it yet, but I suspect we'll hear from him in due course. But we did just one more thing. As ever, we're rounding things off with a last look at the view screen. It's our regular eye right up your temporal schism in search of the prettiest pictures from out there in the Whoniverse, fan art, in the crafty world too, or indeed cosplay. It all counts, whether it's traditional or it's digital. We'd like it up on our screen, whether it's made by your fair hand or with pixels. Yes, please let us know where we can find you as well, on your DeviantArt page or your website, your Instagram account, wherever we can see your fabulous, fabulous fan art. Now, this bloke, I think we feature a lot of his stuff most weeks, don't we? We do, and this week is no exception. So if you are still here in the live chat, Daryl, you're back. Daryl Joyce, this is one of his latest pieces. At least I think it's the latest piece. The man cranks them out, but they're always done with such elegance, such attention to detail. This isn't even my era, but I was entranced by this one, Simon, from the...
I saw this. I saw this on social media. I was like, yeah, I'm having that.
What is it from? Which story?
This is from the Android Invasion, 1975. Filmed in East Hagborn, where I've been to East Hagborn. I've got a photo of me on that cross at the back there.
Simon, you've got to share that.
Yeah, there is a photo of me on the cross there, literally right on that little junction. Because what he's done is he's captured that is perfect recreation of East Hagborn, and I just love this because the Android Invasion is one of those stories that the first episode is by far the best one. It goes rapidly downhill after that. and so this is obviously sort of something that would have been in episode 1. It's not in episode 1 because you never get anything quite that beautiful. But it's the kind of thing that should have been
it's just got the setting, so there's just something so sinister about that tranquil countryside setting, and then
do you know what it is, right? It's very... This kind of thing is very British, right? In the 60s, when they did sci-fi, they did things that were quietly uneasy. If it was the Americans, a big spaceship would be flying across over that house. But British people, they like doing things that are subtle, and it really does unease you.
Underplayed.
This picture really does kind of give you that. You know what I mean? So
it's unnerving. You're right. It's unnerving.
It's beautiful. I mean, look at that sky.
I know.
Terrific.
It is. It's just beautiful. And as I say, for anybody that's been to East Hagborn, it's just a perfect recreation. It's just like walking. It's a photograph in effect of the street. It's beautiful.
I'm here, says Daryl.
Oh, Daryl!
Fantastic.
Look at you blushing, Daryl.
It is a terrific piece of art. It really is.
Daryl, we're still going to get you on the show. Don't worry, we are getting you on the show. We're getting around to doing these podcasts now because we're definitely doing the show with Daryl.
Just when I think I've seen it all from Daryl, I see a piece like this, which again brings to life a story for me that I've never felt that deeply, but it makes me want to go and rewatch it. So please consider that to be a compliment there, Daryl. up.
Just sorry, very quickly, Dan, before you move on, I've just noticed Sam's comment in the chat there. When I went to East Hagborn, they were having a scarecrow trail, and there was a scarecrow Tom Baker tied to the memorial because that's what happened to the Doctor in the invasion of time, in the Android invasion. Brilliant, great. We need a photo of that, Sam.
Yes.
Sorry, Dan.
Brilliant.
Moving on.
Fabulous story, Sam. Thank you. Oh, look at all the remarks there for Daryl. I hope you're catching all this, Daryl. Yeah, just wonderful.
Well deserved.
This one though may give you nightmares. It just says "Hello, Nasty" in the dead center, and around it is an assortment of the Doctor's biggest meanies from the artist Tim Hill. Now, I quite like this. I like the fact because he's got. I don't know if you can read. It says there are some corners of the universe that have bred the most terrible things which act against everything we believe in. They must be forced. So
that's really good.
It's wonderful.
It's really good.
It's very, very clever.
On a t-shirt.
Why aren't they using something like this to advertise the new show? I mean, that stupid one with all the writing was bollocks. This one is
good point.
Great.
Yeah.
Look at all those villains.
And what's nice about it is he's brilliantly combined the classic and the new era, which often don't go well together. They don't fit well together. But there you are, on the right hand side there, you've got a Slitheen directly above a Silurian. It just works beautifully the way that he's mixed the old and the classic and the new Who. Really works well.
It's really good.
Just spotting. We've got the Destroyer in there. We don't see enough fan art of the Destroyer or the Slitheen. Come to think of it, Sarah. And there's a Pteroleptil just poking out of the corner. And Sea Devils, Autons, Ice Warriors.
I would buy a t-shirt with that on it.
Yeah.
Really good
as well.
You've got an Auton top right. There's Syl top left as well. I just spotted Syl top left. And there's a Vok robot there, a beautiful Vok robot in profile on the left-hand side. And there's the Nesting Consciousness sort of with all the tentacles just sort of coming through from the background. Brilliant. And I've just spotted the Dalek right in the middle. How did I miss the Dalek right in the middle?
But also the colour between the black and white and the what kind of colour do you call it? That's not green. It's kind of
jade.
Green.
I'd call that jade.
Yeah, jade. Fantastic.
Daryl
what a great
describes it as Lovecraftian.
You're right, actually, Daryl, because it's the tentacles, isn't it? It's the tentacles.
Very
good. Lots of people like this.
Yeah, I agree. If that was a poster, that would have me intrigued.
Yeah,
and I love the quote that they've put around the outside, which is Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor from the Moon base. I love that they've used that quote. It's just beautiful. Oh, and I've just spotted there's a Croton bottom right as well, just poking out there.
Oh yeah. You notice more things about this.
Yeah, I know. And there's the Candyman bottom left, just on the other side of the side.
You see the difference between that stupid thing with the writing.
Yeah, we're looking at this, aren't we?
Yeah, so Simon said he saw that writing and he didn't want to read it, right?
No.
With this, we see this and we're trying to find out.
Yeah, we are.
We're looking at it very carefully. That's
we
what
could do a whole show on that piece of art as we just find more in it. Just incredible. I really want to see that in a bigger size so I can capture all of it.
The Heretic asks, can this image be put in the description? No, it can't. But the whole point of this is that when we get the artists up on screen, if you go and hit Tim Hill up, so he's definitely on X. He's got his own account there. He publishes his artwork there. And I believe he's got a website too, which that links from. So all of the artists that we feature, when I have a social media tag for them, what they're known as, that is included in the credit on screen as well, each and every time. So another piece by Tim. We've featured Tim's work several times over the years. He doesn't crank them out. But when he does, well, I think when there's a new piece from Tim, it's always graphically excellent and beautifully finished off as well.
That. I've just spotted the Sea Devil as well. I've seen the Sea Devil for the first time now.
What's the text though, Dan? I can't quite get the text around the.
It's the quote I read out a few minutes ago. So it's the line of dialogue from which Troughton story?
It's the Moon based. It's the Moon based.
There we are. There we are. It draws you in, says Peter.
Yes,
it draws you in. You want to look. The oohs and ahs are wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
See, that's Doctor Who for you, isn't it? It's that is pure Doctor Who. What are they doing today? I do not know.
That when you're right, Ian, that sort of encapsulates everything we love about Doctor Who. That's why we love Doctor Who. I've just spotted Davros. I've just seen Davros.
Oh, fabulous. Gary Anikis says no child would not want to watch the show after seeing that piece of artwork, which I think is the best compliment we can possibly give that. Also a digital piece coming up next, Simon. I couldn't not show you this when I spotted this piece from Owen over on X, celebrating a story that I know is very close to your heart. It's for Warriors Gate.
Look at that.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Oh, I love that, because I mean, what that is, it's the coin, isn't it? It's the coin dropping, and the TARDIS on the navigation screen, the sort of the wireframe TARDIS on the navigation screen. That's beautiful. I love that. Absolutely love that. It's just so imaginative. I would never even think to do that for Warriors Gate. If I was going to do a piece of artwork for Warriors Gate, that'd be the last thing you'd think to do, but it just works so brilliantly.
Sometimes the fans do something better than what the art department do for the
we see this every time. Doctor Who fans are so creative.
Yeah. I just even the text at the bottom, the Warriors Gate at the bottom is beautiful. I love the way Owen's done that text at the bottom. Great.
Yeah. This is what we're saying at the start of the show. You sometimes the simplest things are the best.
Yeah. It is a really simple image from a definitely not a simple story, but beautifully,
no, certainly not.
Beautifully captured graphically there by Owen Ruthven. You can find him over on X, and I believe he's got a website too, and a lot of work from Owen, graphic stuff and illustration. An artist to watch, I feel, for the future. There, we're heading into a time rift. Worms, crimpling, doubloon.
It looks like a poster for like a really modern sci-fi show. You could put that on and think, oh, this is the new movie Warriors Gate, and people would.
It does. It looks like a movie poster. It does. Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to go watch Warriors Gate all over again. I've seen that.
All these posters are pissing me off. It's not the posters that piss me off. It's pissed me off because I realized that this era could be so much better, and the fans are proving what true Doctor Who is all about. I mean, for God's sakes, please wake up these people that are making Doctor Who. Please give us Doctor Who.
We want more Warriors Gate. That's what we're
you're just too old, Ian. You're just too old. You don't get
I know,
You're a dinosaur. You're a dinosaur.
You don't understand. We're not approaching you.
It's not all bad news. Happily, current Doctor Who does still inspire some artists to create based on it, including Philip James Allison. Now, he's the artist who is using a mixture of traditional and digital methods to create an illustration very much in the mold of the Target reprints from the 90s that Alistair Pearson used to do covers for. So they're quite graphical, usually based around diamonds and arches and squares and things. So Philip's been going into every story and creating brand new artwork directly in tribute to those, and also putting them into sort of mock-up book covers too, with the logos along the top. And this is the latest piece from him, and it's bang up to date with the church on Ruby Road. So we've got the 15th Doctor, got Ruby Sunday herself, a goblin there with a Christmas tree, and just hanging in the sky right next to the moon is that fantastical Goblin King sailing ship there with the funny wings. So again, I think this is really, really nice, very graphical, and the likenesses are spot on as always.
It's beautiful. It's so much better than the actual episode.
I was thinking that myself.
It's very evocative, and it picks up on the color palette of it as well.
Yeah, and the fantastical elements, and I think it's a wonderful likeness, and he's got it again. Mark Milford's just taking words out of my mouth. Yeah,
that's doing the best work. Fan art is incredible, says the timescales. Well, Philip does use digital as well. This isn't all sort of hand painted. He mixes his mediums to get these results, but I do think they're all very rich, and most of them, the design of them, the composition is beautiful.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing digital art. It's not sort of a lesser thing than physical art. It depends on how you do it. What I have no particular interest in seeing is where somebody just takes a photograph and just literally digitally almost puts it through a filter and messes with it. That's just of no interest. This is all about the composition. You know, on this, Philip has come up with those images. He's come up with the composition. He's come up with the ideas. And so it's still from Philip's own imagination. So it's just as valid as a piece of physical art. Yeah, I would agree, Matthew. Lovely pity about the subject matter. It just sort of shows to me, it's a beautiful piece of art. I have to say, I take the hats off to Philip that he could find the time and the energy and the enthusiasm to do a piece of art this beautiful for what's just not really a very good piece of television. But maybe Philip loved it, so you know. Great.
Yeah, maybe he was moved and inspired because there were a lot of. I've only watched this once. I'm going to be rewatching it soon for the podcast. But there were a lot of strong imagery, I feel, in the episode. So I'm not at all surprised that he was able to do this. I think there's lots of fertile ground there for.
It does look like
I'm expecting to see more.
It belongs in a snow glow. Because it was set at Christmas, and I can see that belonging in being in a snow glow, snow, when you shake it up and the snow and stuff. So
yes,
it would be nice. Would be nice. You can follow Philip in his quest to work up an illustration for every single broadcast Doctor Who story, and he's sharing them across social media on both Instagram and X. So go and find Philip James Allison and tell him that Type 40 sent you. Please do. And don't forget, if you're a fan artist or you know of a fan artist you think we'd love to get up on our view screen to critique their work, if you like, or to celebrate it, and to lay it before the other people in the live chat there on YouTube, Rumble and Facebook, we need to know where to find them, don't we? So let us know in the comments section or get in touch with us with their DeviantArt page, their website, or their social media account, wherever we can find all the good stuff, all that fabulous artwork. Oh, what have we got in the live chat? People talk about Indiana Jones.
What? They're on the wrong show.
Definitely the wrong show. Absolute lunacy as always, but to be honest, that's the way we like it. Doors, open the doors, everybody. Yes, that wraps us up once again. Join us next week, same time and space for more Type 40 Live. What's it going to be about? Well, I've got a fair idea, and it could tie in to a particularly sad bit of news that we know has dropped whilst we've been live. So more of that next week. You be here next week, and you can join in with us too here at Type 40 Live. Thank you, everybody, for everything, for all the comments, all the interaction there. Keep them coming. If you didn't get around to your query and your comment, please don't be put off. We'll trawl our way through, and maybe we'll pick up on some of them and get a feedback special going. But we do try and answer all the queries that we possibly can. You can always drop them in the comments section afterwards, and we will, one or two or even more of us, may well get back to you at our earliest opportunity. Matt, as our real-time traveller, it's already Friday for you. How's it looking so far, mate? What can we expect? No flying cars yet?
Well, as you can see, I'm in heaven. So
yeah. I think your halo's dropped a bit, mate. But yeah.
But no, it's a lovely day today.
Thank you for joining us, the angelic Matt Pott. We do hope you make it through to the weekend without melting.
I was an altar boy. Come on.
Really?
The stories I could tell you.
Oh, it's all coming out now, isn't it?
With the altar girls, but anyway.
Oh, really? The bombshells continue. Thank you, as always, to everybody in the live chat for all of those comments. We can see they still coming, Simon. A lot of it is for you and Lenny, I have to say. Thanks.
No, it's not. It was at the top. Lenny's gone well to bed. He's well in his bed by now. Bless him.
As always, thank you for the diary, Simon. Happy to have you back on the show.
Lovely to be back. Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Double thumbs up. Ian David Diaz, you're smiling. I got the impression you were rather moved by the Gallifrey One stuff. You seem to have enjoyed that.
Yeah, I do. I love talking Doctor Who and fans. I just think they should be more respected. Do you know what I mean? The fans, and it doesn't matter which era of Doctor Who they like. You shouldn't really diss them because it's their passion. So, that's why I was kind of defending them, because I've met a lot in my time, a lot of fans of Doctor Who, and and I just think they need to be respected personally. So anyway, that's just what I think. So yeah, I'd love to go to Gallifrey One, but also I want Simon to make a Gallifrey One version over here in the UK. Try and talk to some funded bodies, Simon. Get some funded bodies, mate.
Yeah, Type 40 Con. Let's do that.
40 Con, yeah, Type 40 Con.
and listen, I have just got to say this, Sarah. I've been made to say this all night. You look like you're at a Star Trek convention. You look like you're in a classic Star Trek top.
I just need a badge, don't you?
You do. You just need a little strike. Just here. You just need a little.
Well, I am the captain, obviously.
So let's start.
Yes. Well, am I really going to be the one who's going to say it?
What?
Starry Trek.
Hey! I didn't even see that coming. Oh,
don't encourage me, everybody. Don't encourage me.
Somebody stop him.
It is getting right. I'm going to have to try. I'm going to have to stop myself, really, aren't I? If you want more of this, and who wouldn't? You can get in touch with us through our social media, Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who with that, or get more of it on your smartphone in real time when you join the Type 40 Facebook group. Now,
Type 40 Con.
Not all of these gentlemen are members of the Type 40 Facebook group, but I think spiritually they very much are with us every single day. And if they were, I know that they would enjoy time spent on the wall at the Type 40 Facebook group, just like you will. So head over to Facebook, if you still use Facebook, that is. I know a lot of people are ditching Facebook, but we have a nice, big, thriving social media group there, and you can dive in and comment on the past, present, and future of Doctor Who, as well as comestibles, tarts, and Vickers, and no, donuts, cakes, all that kind of thing. Yeah, you knock yourselves out. The weather, pop music, fireplaces, you name it. We cover it all in the Type 40 Facebook group, just like we do on Type 40 Live. I'm rambling now. You can tell I'm getting tired. Look, thank you everybody for the comments. Please leave us some more. By all means, thank you so much for your company, everybody here on the distinguished panel, as always. Anybody? Yeah, time to pull this. Pull.
Time to go.
Someone shout, Paul, because it is time. It is time to go. We always have the time. If you have the space here at Type 40 Live, we'll see you on the next show next time. Good night. Take care.
Type 40 Con.
Bye.
Love yous all.